ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock, it's a Monday morning. It's the 23rd of March, 2026. You are hearing the sound of sleep, of rest and relaxation. That is what you are hearing out of your speaker this morning, because that's the weekend I had. I was at home, I rested, relaxed. I felt a bit groggy yesterday. Thought I was coming down with something. And what did I do? I relaxed and I rested. I'm on fire this morning. I'm on fire this morning. How are you feeling? Are you energized? Are you up, ready to go? Swinging from the chandeliers, as it were? It's the start of a brand new week. I hope you had a good one. From a sporting side, mixed bag yesterday. Arsenal losing. But what a thumping by Orlando Pirates. I'm wearing my Pirates t-shirt. Just in celebration. I'm not alone, of course. As always, my colleagues, Muteo Haripe, good morning.
Morning, Bongs.
Are you fired up?
I'm fired up. It's a new week, feeling fresh. I'm good.
Amo, how about you?
I'm good. I'm fired up as well. I'm ready to kick it off and start the week.
Anything to do with 2 days to payday?
No. But you don't have to ask, you can see it.
She was rapping. You're going to rap for us?
No.
You only rap for certain people.
No. I rap for everybody as long as there's time and I'm ready to do it. So if there's a good song that I can rap to, I will.
And money.
And money.
On our menu today, we discuss the criminality that we've been hearing in the various processes following Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations. And do we need all those municipalities?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We start off with Tebogo Kas, who wrote quite an important piece, I think, and it's all to do with what we've heard, in particular the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, but also what Parliament was doing in that ad hoc committee, where we're now seeing these networks, right, where elite police officers, politically connected individuals, security operatives, and criminal syndicates working together, associated with each other, money exchanging hands. How are we going to clean up this mess? Not least because, of course, Senzo Mchunu remains in office. And it's extraordinary to me that given everything, the preponderance of information, of evidence that points to what he did, and the president himself saying he wasn't consulted on the disbandment of that political killings task team, how he remains in office is a serious mystery to me. So that's on our menu this morning. And then we're going to be talking about our municipalities. Do we need them? All 257 of them, even if many of them are not viable. Isn't perhaps the thing to do to have more metros or whatever the level below would be, where you amalgamate some of them and you just make sure that they are delivering? It seems to me, and we used this municipality, Maluti a Pofong, last week, where it seems people are just creating jobs and posts in the municipality to try and steal money, where the municipality is not doing anything, right? So in many of these small municipalities, the people who get elected to office who are receiving salaries, often their budgets are so heavy on human capital expenses versus infrastructure, maintenance, building, all of that. And with bigger municipalities, with a bigger oversight role, perhaps things might be different. We'll speak to the Northwest University Business School Chief Director, Professor Joseph Sekhampo, about that as our big interview. And then just before 9 o'clock, we'll tell you about the 8th Annual Human Rights Festival.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, of course, as always, we've got an entire team behind the scenes. It's not just Muteo Haripe here for business. And Amoramila telling us how to get safely on our morning commute. We've got a team of producers behind the scenes. Siamtanda Matiso and Ropiwa Kone are the producers this morning. KG starting the clock has promised us a wicked mix a little later on. and I'll tell you who it's going to be as the show progresses. But as always, we have a shout out. Feel free to weigh in on 072 702 1702. We'll take your calls on 011 883 0702. I'd love to know, firstly, how your weekend was. What was the highlight? What did you do? I went to Greg Makoma's Genesis show. It was the last one yesterday at the Johannesburg Theatre, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a full house, and I went with my daughter. So we had a dad-daughter date. We actually got to the theatre a little early. We had lunch and we chatted, and then we went and saw the show. And it was very nice because it's one of those dance pieces that is really up to your interpretation as to what is going on. And so we were having these debates. No, I think it's about this. No, I think it's about that. And it was just a really good time. So I'm fully energized. But our shout out this morning is simply this. Have you found out something about someone you knew, perhaps you were close to, even admired, found out something about them after they were gone that surprised you, right? So it doesn't have to be someone in your family life. It could be a public figure, for example. I mean, if you found out, I don't know, Whitney Houston could rap, right? If you found out Whitney Houston was a mean rapper, that would be a surprise, would it not? Or is there an uncle who had a whole other family you guys had never met as a family? Or are you the surprise? Often we are. Amma, don't give me that look. Often we are the surprise, right? Have you found out something about someone you knew, loved and admired, that you had no idea about when they were alive? And you found this out after they were gone.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Mutel?
For me, it would have to be the rapper Nate Dogg, who I loved quite a bit. He used to be a West Coast rapper, and that's all I knew him for. And then after he died, I found out he was actually in the army in the US before he became a rapper. Guess as what?
As what?
Ammunition specialist. So he was really in the army, based in Japan. And I was like, had a whole army career before he started his West Coast rapping career.
Is this the guy who redid that song?
Nobody does it better.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of, you remember that song, I Keep Forgetting What We Na.
Yes.
He sampled that, right?
Yes, he did something.
That was Nate Dogg. Okay, you see, my rap knowledge is not as bad as you think, Amo.
A young boy from our church, I think he was younger than me, so we were not in the same youth group, right? He was just underneath from us. He was the group that came after us, basically, yes. And I learned on the day of his funeral about how excellent he was, not only at school, but he did sport, he did extramurals, he did hockey, he played soccer. And in that particular week that he passed away, the week before, he had been chosen to represent South Africa under 19. It was so sad, Bongani, because I knew him as a very quiet person.
Yeah.
He never really spoke much, but he was full of life. He would, engage. He would, participate in things that we did in the church and so forth. And firstly, I didn't know that he was battling depression. That on its own for me was like a shock. And then afterwards to also realize that he was excellent at almost everything that he did was another shock. And that how his parents were on suicide watch was also for me another shock. I was just like, if you think parents or people are dealing with a lot, that for me was just so much to take on that particular day.
Yeah, this quiet, unassuming kid who on paper was even an overachiever. But meantime, there was all these issues in the background to deal with. We're talking, of course, our shout out this morning, something you found out about somebody you knew, admired, loved, near and dear, once they were gone. We'll explain why we're asking coming up.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
You heard, of course, in Eyewitness News, even as I think we're getting mixed messages coming out of Washington around whether or not this is going to be a winding down effort. Donald Trump, the U.S. president, yesterday warning the U.S. would obliterate Iran's power plants if it didn't open that Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. So that 48 hours is about to run out, I would imagine. Remember, Trump said he wanted to do this in part to liberate the people of Iran. He thought that they would run to the streets and sing America's praises after he killed their leaders. And now he's threatening basically the power access of 80, 85, 90 million people. How do you think they might feel about what is going on if indeed the plan was always to try to liberate them? Iran, of course, threatening to hit energy sites all around the Middle East. And I want you to hear the U.S. president telling an audience in Washington, D.C. at a ceremony during a commander-in-chief trophy ceremony. He says he's seeking talks with Iran, but there's nobody left. But listen to his glee at the same time.
They don't know what's happening. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is all gone, it's all gone, their radar is all gone. Their leaders are all gone. The next set of leaders are all gone. And the next set of leaders are mostly gone. And now nobody wants to be a leader over there anymore. We're having a hard time. We want to talk to them, and there's nobody to talk to. We have nobody to talk to. And you know what? We like it that way.
That is Donald Trump. Meantime, his partner, as far as the Iranian war is concerned, is the Israeli Prime Minister, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu. And this, as Iran has now shown that its missile capability is a lot stronger than people initially believed. So the big issue was that Iran had for a long time said their missiles could only reach as far as 2,000 miles. So if you look at the distance, for example, between Iran and Israel, it was always known that Iranians could hit the Israelis, but not much further. There's a military base in the Indian Ocean. It's operated by the UK, and the UK allowed the US to launch attacks from there. Over the weekend, the Iranians were able to get missiles there. They didn't hit anything, but they were able to get missiles there, and it's 4,000 miles. It's twice the range everybody thought they could do. And now Benjamin Netanyahu is warning the Europeans to say, if they can hit that base, you bet be sure they could hit you.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians. Second, they fired on Jerusalem right next to the holy sites of the three monotheistic faiths, the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And by dint of a miracle again, none of them were hurt, but they were targeting the holy sites of the three major monotheistic religions.
Benjamin Netanyahu concerned about the evil Iranian regime that is targeting civilians, notwithstanding that the Iranian Red Crescent Society has said that over 40,000 civilian buildings have been damaged by the Israeli-US attacks. They've noted medical facilities, shops, courthouses that have been impacted. We've seen the same thing in Gaza, of course, schools, hospitals. We've seen it in the West Bank in terms of the ethnic cleansing and mass displacement of Palestinians in that territory. But, you know, Netanyahu says, how dare they? How dare they go after mosques? How many kids were killed in that crash in Iran? But Netanyahu says, look at what they're doing. How evil.
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.
20 after 6. Mateo, you've got a question of your own?
I want to know this morning, are you one of those people that gets suspicious when things go your way?
Yes.
Thing after
Yes.
thing just is going right.
I go.
And you're like, what's with the fortune?
What's coming around the corner?
Also, you get anxious about what's coming next.
I have had repeated patterns of almost ecstatic joy.
Yeah.
And then tragedy.
You wait for the pin to
That's
drop.
been my cycle, yeah. Many a time in my entire life, there's been a pattern of incredible success, joy, fulfillment, and then boom, a whack that I didn't see
So you've
coming.
picked up a pattern.
Yeah,
and when things go right, you're like, how long is this going to last?
Who's lowering me?
Yeah, I think I do get a bit nervous when things are going my way, especially if during that time nothing goes wrong. Something must go wrong in preparation for whatever something big that's about to happen.
So you enjoy a win after having lost a lot.
Yes, yes.
I always say, even to the kids, look, enjoy life. Don't seek problems
Yes,
because they will come.
they're always there.
702.
Weather.
What conditions can you expect on this Monday morning? A cloudy Gauteng, scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures maxing at 26 degrees. This is in Pretoria and Vereeniging as well as Bloemfontein. Joburg maxes at 24 degrees. Cape Town 30 is your high there. It's the same for Bombela. Kimberley 29. Gqeberha 24. East London 23. Durban, much like Joburg, showers and thunder showers, a maximum of 28. And of course, we couldn't forget Mahikeng, could we? 22 is your max.
EWN Traffic.
22 after 6, this EWN traffic brought to you by South African Airways. Get all-inclusive fares, your seat, your meal, and your baggage. It's all in. Book at flysaa.com. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got queuing traffic already on the N3 North between the Yellands interchange and Van Buren Road. Roadworks are causing these delays. Please be on the lookout there. And Riaz on X is warning some of our listeners about the potholes that are along Main Reef Road between Nadine Street and Shaft Street. Huge potholes across all three lanes. Please be on the lookout there, as these could really damage your car. We'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the
Good morning, Uncle Bonks. I think my highlight for the weekend is that I took my 6-year-old daughter for a very first netball match. They lost the match, but I think it was amazing just to see her in action.
Oh, those are always very special. Even if they don't win, but those are always very special. I love it. I love it when it's the dads who are taking the daughters to sporting events.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Things you need to know at this hour. The Eastern Cape government rejecting, listen to this, KG. So some Nigerian fella in East London has called himself the Nigerian king, or the king of all foreigners here in South Africa. There was apparently some ceremony to install him as this. And of course, the Eastern Cape government has called this an unlawful act and a threat to South Africa's sovereignty. Traditional leaders have also condemned the move as a violation of customary protocols and an insult to the local kings and kingdoms. But essentially, this guy thought, well, hang on. We've got so many foreigners living in South Africa. They need their own king. So he installed himself as that. And authorities are calling for an urgent intervention and a dissolution of this so-called kingship. I was floored when I read this yesterday. So 6 SANDF Special Forces soldiers, they're accused of murdering Lieutenant Colonel Frans Matiba. They failed to report for jail after their bail was revoked. Initially said they were ill, and now all 6 of them are said to be seeking treatment for mental illness. So they haven't gone to jail because now they're mentally ill. The case has raised serious concerns about accountability. The accused, of course, continue to delay their imprisonment, and we're told the ministers of police and defense are negotiating about this. In the Worldview later on, we're going to speak to Adam Gilchrist about the U.S. Housing Secretary, who says there is absolutely no intelligence suggesting Iran can nor intends to hit London, nor indeed mainland Europe. Tributes pouring in after Chuck Norris, the actor, died at the age of 86. This was on Friday, but we thought we'd still tell you about it in case you missed it. He died in Hawaii, surrounded by his friends and family. Tributes are pouring in from people like Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And it's understood, and this is the bit I didn't know, and we heard, of course, from the US President Donald Trump paying his tribute to Chuck Norris. And what I didn't know about Chuck Norris was that he was a MAGA supporter. Have a listen to Trump.
Chuck Norris died. I didn't know that. He was a great guy. He was a really good, tough cookie. You didn't want to fight him, I can tell you. He was a tough, great guy, and he was a great supporter. Wow, that's too bad. Tell his family highest respect. Great man.
702.
The newspapers.
And that's why we were asking Sfiso Zulu, what have you heard about somebody you knew, maybe even loved, that you didn't know until after they were gone? I didn't know Chuck Norris was a MAGA supporter. That surprised me.
Yeah. Look, I think this is something that a lot of people would resonate with. When I was 17, a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, her father passed away. And, you know, during the bereavement process, people come in and offer their condolences to the family. She found out that she had two older siblings that she was not aware of. Her father never disclosed this. But what shook her was the fact that the entire family knew about this.
She was the only one who didn't know.
She was the only one who did not know. She only found out when she was 17.
Sometimes you're the sibling that's the surprise, hey?
Yeah, that's
Let's
true.
look at the papers.
Page 2 of the Citizen this morning, Cuba is dealing with its own version of load shedding. Authorities are scrambling to restore power to the island after a second nationwide blackout in less than a week as the grid struggles due to an aging infrastructure and U.S. blockade, or oil blockade at least. So some parts of Havana have been without power, but others are still in the dark as early as yesterday. And the Energy Ministry says there's a total disconnection of the national electric system. So, yeah, as much as there's reprieve for us in the load shedding front, Cuba is struggling with the similar situation there.
Oh, for very different reasons, of course. The Business Day says SA is tightening rules on imports from China. The Sowetan has pictures of motorists queuing at a petrol station. People are apparently trying to buy fuel in bulk to beat predicted fuel hikes that are definitely on the way. And the front page of The Citizen, a picture of Orlando Pirates after that smashing of Galaxy yesterday.
EWN Business.
Mateo wants to know, do you get suspicious when things are just going too well? Do you worry something bad is around the corner? Or do you always expect to strike it lucky? What prompts the question, Mateo?
Bongani, Sasol is experiencing a significant share price surge, right? Gaining over 70% in early 2026 to breach that 100 billion rand market cap on the JSE. Now, the US-Israel war on Iran has caused a lot of misfortune for many companies and sectors, but for Sasol, it has been a turn of fortune. Sasol's gains has been driven by higher oil prices from the Middle East, conflict tensions, and as a producer using coal and gas, Sasol benefits from rising oil linked revenues, offering a cost advantage for the company. Now, as the war goes into its fourth week, Sasol has been tallying the numbers. Shares of the company rose from 125 Rand, this was late February this year, to over 214 Rand by the 19th of March, marking a substantial increase in shareholder value. The elevated oil prices enhance profitability for Sasol's integrated business model, which produces synthetic fuels and chemicals. Sasol has every right to be cautious about its sudden surge because earlier this year, the energy and chemicals giant was under pressure. The group's earnings were down, falling 34% due to weaker oil and chemical prices. The company posting a 95% decline in profit for the 6 months ended in December. And all of a sudden, things are looking
Good
up.
times for now. Where's the Rand?
Rand at this hour are quite weak against the dollar. It's really starting to look bad because of the war. 17 Rand 12 cents against the US dollar, 19 Rand 76 cents against the euro, and at 22 Rand 80 cents against the British pound. The price of gold also down 2.5% at $4,365 an ounce, while platinum is down close to 4% at $1,851. Brent crude still rising, $112 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk. Swisa Zulu, good morning again.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Some NPOs representing young people have flagged systemic failures at TVET colleges, labeling them as human rights violations. Youth Capital and Equal Education say escalating registration fees, limited water supply, and the lack of stationery undermines students' right to dignity and access to further education. They say large numbers of first-year students drop out due to uncertainty around funding and allowances. Youth Capital's Buhlebethu Magwaza is calling for timely payments and access to accommodation.
We are still seeing high dropout rates, particularly amongst first-year students. And preventing this requires a system that is predictable from the outset.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi has officially opened a government-run food storage and distribution centre in Centurion as the province moves to take direct supervision of its food relief efforts. The centre, which was launched yesterday, forms part of the province's food relief program that currently reaches around 400,000 people. Despite being South Africa's economic hub, Statistics South Africa says nearly 23% of Gauteng residents still live below the poverty line. Head of Social Development Pumla Sikonyane says this initiative represents a move away from subcontracted food distribution, allowing the government to improve efficiency, expand service delivery and provide better support to vulnerable communities.
Overall, the importance of this project is that we are implementing the directive of improving the capacity of the state and getting the state to deliver these services on their own instead of relying on external parties.
The Western Cape High Court is set to hear a landmark legal challenge against proposed deep water oil and gas drilling off the country's west coast. The court will today and tomorrow consider an application to overturn environmental authorization granted to Total Energies for exploration drilling in the deep Western Orange Basin. Carlo Peterson reports.
The case has been brought by the Arcatoa Fisheries Cooperative, environmental group The Green Connection and public interest law organisation Natural Justice against the Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources. They argue the department's approval process was flawed and inconsistent with the Constitution, environmental law and the country's climate and energy commitments. Outside court, close to 100 small-scale fishers are expected to stage a peaceful protest. They say offshore drilling threatens marine ecosystems, food security and livelihoods along the coast. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Cuba's power grid has been restored a day after the second nationwide blackout in a week as the crisis-hit island struggles under a U.S. oil blockade. The Energy Ministry reported a total disconnection of the national electric system in the country of 9.6 million people. Authorities have cautioned, however, that demand would still exceed supply. The outage comes as Cuba's government has faced growing pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, who imposed a de facto oil blockade in January and considered this past week about taking the Caribbean island. Deputy Foreign Minister Carlos Fernandez de Cosio says they will continue talking with Washington, but discussing changes to its political system is off the table. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 16 and 18 degrees, peaking at highs between 24 and 26.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Elands interchange and the Van Buren Road exit. That's due to roadworks. There's also queuing traffic along the N12 and the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange.
The top story this hour, some NPOs representing young people have flagged systemic failures at TVET colleges, labeling them as human rights violations.
The Clement Manyatela Show on 702.
The Clement Manyatela Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Maniatela Show. Weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Is your skin itchy, flaky, red or discolored? You may have a fungal skin infection. Turbane treats a variety of fungal skin infections like skin thrush, a red and itchy rash with small pimples, usually in damp skin areas, ringworm, a ring-shaped, sometimes itchy rash, athlete's foot, itchy red discolored or peeling skin on your feet or toes, and jock itch. Turbane kills skin fungus, and you only need to use the cream once or twice daily for 1 week compared to other 4-week treatments. Ask your pharmacist about Turbane cream and say goodbye to fungal skin infections.
Every bunny needs a holiday, and with FlySafair's affordable fares, there's no excuse not to go. That's right, if there's one hunt worth taking seriously this Easter, it's the hunt for a great fare. That's where our low fare finder comes in. Simply enter your destination and your travel month, and you'll quickly be able to pinpoint the cheapest days to fly. Head to flysafair.co.za and use our low fare finder to lock down those Easter flights now. FlySafair, for the love of flying.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
On the next Money Show, we unpack the latest annual results from Advotech and Tungela and what they tell us about the broader education, energy and mining industries. Then, Business Book Review, we're joined by Jaco Maritz to explore his new release, How We Made It in Africa Too, a collection of powerful entrepreneurial stories from across our continent, and as always, expert analysis of the day's biggest business stories.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Islamic Banking, celebrating 20 years of banking that honors your values. Your story matters. Absa Islamic Banking is a Sharia-compliant FSP.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. All you need to do is send us an answer based on anything that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. You WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. And of course, a little later, someone else will ask a question to get your answer to win 2,000 Rand. Remember now, you stand a better chance of being selected to give us today's answer if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So do it now. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and listeners. Listening to that little insert from that idiot Donald Trump, he just says that he was a supporter. He doesn't mention what he was a supporter of. Maybe he was a supporter of the Republicans, not necessarily Magma. I don't think nobody knows what Magma is anymore. I mean, please, make America great? No way. They just caused a whole lot of nonsense. I mean, gosh, Trump needs to be going the same direction as Norris. Cheerio, au revoir. Have a good day. Byron from Joburg.
Oh, no. Be kind. Be kind. You might have known, or you may have known, that Chuck Norris was a 6-time undefeated world professional middleweight karate champion, that he also founded his own Korean-based American hard style of karate, sometimes known as Chan Kuk Do, and the United Fighting Arts Federation, which awarded more than 3,300 Chuck Norris system black belts worldwide. Black Belt magazine credited Norris in its Hall of Fame with holding a 10th degree black belt, and that's the highest possible honor. You'll remember him, of course, from the 1990s Walker, Texas Ranger TV show that ran for 9 seasons. What I did not know were his political views. So I understand now that he was very outspoken about his Christian beliefs and support for gun rights, and that he backed George W. Bush. In fact, they even went skydiving, apparently, for Bush's 80th birthday. Can you believe it? Skydiving at 80. Trump, he endorsed in 2016, writing columns praising him, and of course also did so in the days before the 2020 and 2024 elections. Hence, Trump was so sad to see him go. I'll tell you about another Trump reaction to another death over the weekend, and this one wasn't so pretty.
And the mayor from Joburg, I had a wonderful weekend. Well done to Orlando Pirates for winning 6-0. Well done to the big brother Mzansi winner, Liema Panzi. Well done. So we wake up early in the morning, Monday morning. Happy people. Thank you. Sam from Joburg.
EWN Sport.
A very good morning to you, Cindy Paluta. I think Sam from Joburg is trying to gun for your job there.
You're welcome. I don't want to wake up at 4 o'clock anymore. Truth be told, I didn't win on the lotto on the weekend. That's why I'm here. Right.
Let's talk football.
Yeah, let's talk Mamelodi Sundowns. I mean, they lost to Stade Malien 2-0, but are still through to a fourth consecutive CAF Champions League semi-final thanks to that first leg where they got that 3-0 victory. So it's a 3-2 aggregate win. Sundowns played most of the second half with 10 men as Aubrey Madiba was sent off. But what a result in the Premiership yesterday.
Right.
I didn't watch the game, but I opened my app.
Yeah.
And I saw it said 6-0 Orlando Pirates after 72 minutes. And then I refreshed my app. I was like, no shame, there's a mistake here.
So
am I looking at the Disky Challenge results?
Wow.
No, because the Disky Challenge, you see like these really big
Yeah, of
results.
course.
So it was really impressive. I mean,
I went to the theatre with my daughter yesterday afternoon.
she looked beautiful.
And at halftime, yeah, she did. Thank you. At halftime, it was 3-0. Right, because I checked
And
when
you're
I was
like,
there.
okay.
I was like, oh, okay.
That's it.
And because it was a dance performance, it wasn't a long show. I think it was only about an hour or so. And I got home before the game was over. And at that point, it was 6-0. And my eyes were just popping out.
Right? When last did you see such a huge result in Premiership action? But anyway, they beat a 10-man Galaxy 6-0. Mofokeng with 3 of those goals. The Bucks are 1 point ahead of Sundowns. Durban City up to 5th after a 1-0 win over Richards Bay. Also 1-0 wins for Arrows and Siwalele over Sekekone and Orbit College. Manchester City are League Cup champions. They beat Arsenal 2-0 in the final. O'Reilly with both goals within 4 minutes in the second half, giving Pep Guardiola his 19th trophy at the club. Gunners boss Mikel Arteta defending his decision to play goalkeeper Kepa, he's their cup keeper, whose blunder leaked through the opening goal.
I understand that, but I have to do what I feel is right, which is honest and which is fair. And I think we have an understanding keeper on Kepa. He's played all the competition, and I think it would have been very, very unfair for him and for the team to do something different.
In the league, Aston Villa beating West Ham 2-0. West Ham stay in the bottom 3, 1 point behind Tottenham Hotspur, who lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. Forest are 3 points above the drop zone. Also, Sunderland beat Newcastle 2-1. In cricket, the Proteas men got a 19-run win over New Zealand in the 4th T20 to level the series. The deciding T20s on Wednesday, while the Proteas women lost the series after losing the 4th T20. Live Golf wrapped up in South Africa with Bryson DeChambeau beating John Ram on a playoff hole after they had both finished on 26 under.
It's been a tough few weeks, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but I can tell you that having these 3 great people up here and my caddy and the team around me really helped me persevere on and through tough moments. So a lot of it was just stuff that I can't really explain, but ultimately I'll tell you that I'm super grateful for how this has all played out. And
the South African team, the Southern Guards GC, finished second, 1 shot behind Crushers GC that included DeChambeau. The event itself was a huge success, so it will return to Steyn City next year, April. And a good weekend in the United Rugby Championship for the South African teams. Yesterday, the Stormers beat the Dragons 29-21 to add to the wins for the Lions, Bulls and Sharks. That result keeps the Stormers second on the table. The Lions are 7th with the Bulls just behind them in 8th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Reliable water services depend on a sustainable system. When residents pay for municipal services, it enables Johannesburg Water to maintain infrastructure, repair leaks, upgrade networks, and continue delivering essential water and sanitation services to the city. Revenue collected from services is reinvested into operating and strengthening the water system for everyone. By paying for services, residents play an important role in supporting the sustainability of Johannesburg's water supply. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
Zakes owns an electrical business that lit up the neighborhood. Literally.
One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But he has public liability insurance from Budget. The damage was covered and his client sorted. Sharp, sharp. To get public liability cover, visit budgetinsurance.co.za. Budget Insurance, official insurer for good South Africans. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Stoff, why is there a horse in your driveway?
You right, Savvy. Why drive a Mustang when you can ride one?
What the missus say?
Well, she had a bit of a long face, but now she's stable.
If you need a backup plan, We Buy Cars can sort you out.
Nah, Savvy, this thing is eco-chic.
Stop horsing around, cowboy. Rather get one of these from We Buy Cars.
What's the horsepower on that thing?
More than one, Doff. More than one.
Don't be Dorf, be savvy. We buy cars, geared for adventure, geared for you. The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Hi, my name is Zidubwani. I'm 12 years old. I go to Breckenridge Primary School. I would like to be a neurosurgeon when I grow up, and I'm excited to play the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
Oh, we can't wait to play with you too. Will you walk away with 10,000 Rand? And I'm told you're a really good competitor.
702.
Coming up at 7:15. The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
13 to 7, the CWN traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, if you are traveling on the N3 North, there's queuing traffic, in fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic along this route between Fort Rucker Road and the Van Buren Road exit. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. If you are traveling along the N12 as well as the R24 West, there's queuing traffic as well between Edenville Road and the Kilulis Interchange. Out in the West Rodiport of Johannesburg, we've got queuing traffic along Main Reef Road. Remember earlier on, I did tell you about those roadworks that motorists are being warned to try and avoid. They are between Nadine and Shaft Road, so please be on the lookout there and try to avoid if you can. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You know that feeling when you have uninterrupted water supply? I mean, that's what we have to celebrate these days, isn't it? Well, that's how good it feels to see Outsurance pointsmen on your route. Everyone has a little less stress in traffic knowing they're on the roads, and they've been easing traffic congestion so everyone gets to where they need to quickly and safely for the last 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Do you suffer from heartburn and hyperacidity? To relieve heartburn for the whole day and night with one tablet, a potent once-a-day treatment which was previously prescription only is now available over the counter. Ask your pharmacist for an over-the-counter, long-lasting heartburn treatment. Brought to you by Sandoz.
The Audi Open House sales event is here. Get the Audi A1 from 6,699 per month, zero deposit, rate below prime, and a guaranteed buyback. This offer ends 30 April. Plus, when you come in for a test drive, you could stand a chance to win an exclusive Audi Formula One experience. The Audi Open House sales event, now on at Audi dealerships nationwide. Terms and conditions apply. Visit audi.co.za for more.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
She wants to be a neurosurgeon later on in life. Mulalo is 12 years old and goes to Brackenhurst Primary. I'm told, Mulalo, you got 10 out of 10 in the test round.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, so you think you could get 10,000 Rand?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. KG, let's see. Spell the word educate.
EDUCATE.
Correct. Complete the saying, easier what than done?
Said.
Correct. True or false? In the fairy tale, Goldilocks broke the baby bear's table?
True.
It's false. It was the chair. What is 70 divided by 2?
35.
Correct. The Earth's atmosphere consists mainly of which gas, beginning with N?
Past.
Nitrogen. Which word is a noun? Frankly or freedom?
Freedom.
Correct. Which continent has the most independent countries?
Asia.
Africa, 54 independent nations. Mulalo, you walk away with 400 Rand. 400 Rand, 4 correct answers there. Not quite as well as you did in the test round. And just for your information, we always test the kids, and we typically try to put the ones that do the best in the test round. So we think now we ought to tell you what they got, so you've got a sense of what they can. Not as well as in the test round, I'm afraid, Mulalo, but nonetheless well played. You have to be 10 to 13 to play the Whiz Quiz.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
Right, on to this now. You may have been keeping an eye on what's unfolding at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and indeed what we've seen at the ad hoc committee in Parliament, at least the public hearings part of it. And it all stems from those allegations of the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who spoke about how criminal syndicates had deeply infiltrated the justice system. And we're seeing increasingly evidence of elite police officers, powerful political individuals, private security operatives, and criminal syndicates who are associated with each other. Money exchanges hands, and it raises major questions about how safe we are. Tebogo Kasum, we've spoken to many a time on this show, has written what I think is a piece worth paying attention. He is the chairperson of Public Interest SA and joins us now. As always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Bongani.
Just a week ago, I was speaking to the police about the arrest of that special task force member, Matipandile Soteni. This is the elite sniper who was arrested in connection with the murder of Marius Vlam van der Merwe, or Witness D, from the Madlanga Commission. And that headline, of course, made headlines, but it also exposed other issues that many of us would not have been aware of. Police officers who receive elite training, the finest we can offer, at quite the cost to the taxpayer, who then go and sell their services in the open market, as it were, for private individuals and boutique security firms.
Absolutely, Bongani. And maybe as we kick off, I would like to state that what we should not lose sight of is that this arrest of Soteni should be understood as not just as an isolated criminal act, but as a symptom of a deeper systemic corruption within, or problem within the system, within the police system. And it only points to one thing: a convergence of organized crime, compromised law enforcement, as well as political protection networks embedded within private security networks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opaqueness of the whole thing, is it not? The idea that it makes perfect sense why the SAPs would need elite snipers, not so much private outfits.
What our eyes ought to have been peeled the minute we had Ket Matlala during the ad hoc committee hearings in Tshwane, Mampuru, when he was boastful about his ability to attract this type of caliber of individuals, highly trained snipers like Matipandile. And he boasted that I think he had something between 7 or 10 or 11, something like that, within his ranks. And he was boastful that he can afford it because he pays them more than what the state does. And this is notwithstanding the fact that actually it is the state that spends more than $1 million per individual to actually train and make sure that they can reach that level of competency in their job. And it's a very concerning issue, and because what it means is that these people are now embedded within the private security networks, and they've got historical knowledge of what is to be a police or in that policing or military environment where they come from.
Forget, members of SAPS who are maybe in some senses foot soldiers, however highly skilled. We've also seen on their own versions repeatedly senior SAPS individuals testifying as to receiving monies, loans. I mean, they offer all kinds of explanations, but ultimately the exchange of money, and you mentioned Vusumuzi Kat Matlala, who upon arrest is freely boasting about the number of officers that are under his influence at the highest levels.
Yeah. The issue itself is both vertical and horizontal, and I'll explain to you why. At one level, you've got senior level corruption of police, who provide protection of these syndicates, as we've seen the likes of Shibiri, and to some extent Ngosi, Sinona, and others, who do also interfere in investigations, as witness A and witness B, I think, did testify at the Madlanga Commission. And then you've got operational level, corruption, where case dockets keep disappearing. There's tip-offs, as we've heard from the evidence testimony of Sergeant Ngosi, where he tipped off the likes of Matlala of an impending raid at his house. And then there's evidence tampering. So now, this of its own created a chain of impunity, where accountability mechanisms are bypassed or neutralized.
The other connection, of course, to all of this has to be the politicians. I want you to listen, if you don't mind, to the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, speaking this past weekend, addressing his supporters, but also criticizing Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi for connecting him to police crime counterintelligence head Feroz Khan.
Mkhwanazi, we are not fanatics of Mkhwanazi. Right now, we are not ball boys of Mkhwanazi or ball girls of Mkhwanazi. We stand with the truth. And if you blunder, we will tell you this is not right. We don't care whether it's Mkhwanazi or not. Mkhwanazi has given us issues. We are dealing with those issues. He must stop being sensitive that everyone who doesn't speak good about him, that person becomes the enemy. If he's a true policeman, let him remain true policeman and allow Madlanga and the ad hoc committee to deal with what he has raised. He must never think he can...
Right, he goes on there talking about not being connected, but the truth is there are lots of questions, not only around Julius Malema. There are questions around this Feroz Khan. There are questions around other politicians and the fact that still to this day, Senzo Mkhunu remains in his office.
In fact, the irony is very palpable with regards to Malema himself. Just last year, he was exalting the virtues of General Mkhwanazi. That is before General Mkhwanazi started pointing things closer to home. Then he gets worried, he gets hot under the collar about such disclosures. And yet the relationship Malema has with those alleged to be within the criminal networks is concerning as a politician that he, an influential politician that he is. Seen hobnobbing the likes of General Feroz Khan, seen hobnobbing with some of the individuals who are alleged to be in the tobacco or criminal underworld. Itself points to question that he needs to answer. Actually, it would be an injustice if Malema is not called before the Madlanga Commission to come and account to some of these allegations. Because even in tendering itself, we know that there were allegations, the DA, Haman Mashaba under the DA, was actually mayor of Joburg, where there were allegations that a company called AfriRent, which had connection with the EFF, was benefiting from contracts within Joburg. So these allegations that have been raised with regards to Tshwane shouldn't be anything new to authorities, anything to us as members of the public, because it shows that the EFF or some of its leaders or members have been sailing closer to the wind. And it's about time that we get to understand what is the nature of that wind, whether it stings or not.
Appreciate your time as always. Deborah Kass is the chairperson of Public Interest South Africa.
7:02.
Coming up, the big interview.
7 o'clock, time for the latest eyewitness news, after which we ask, do we need all our 257 municipalities when many of them can't keep the lights on, can't deliver water, can't even pave roads. Is it time for fewer, stronger councils, or might it be too late?
This is EWN.
Heads are starting to roll in the capital after explosive testimony at the Madlanga Commission, and the IEA warns the global economy is under major threat from the energy crisis. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Consequence management has already started in the city of Tshwane after senior officials and politicians were implicated in tender rigging. Action SA Tshwane councillor Kolofelo Morodi was the first domino to fall after being placed on special leave from her role as MMC for Corporate and Shared Services. This weekend, Deputy Commissioner of the Metro's Police Department, Umashi Dlamini, was also suspended. The acts of alleged wrongdoing were revealed during the testimony of Sergeant Faninkosi at the Madlanga Commission last week. Tabiso Goba has more.
Among those implicated in the testimony of Sergeant Faninkosi, no one is more compromised than Tshwane's Chief Financial Officer, Gareth Mnisi. Evidence before the commission shows Mnisi and Nkosi allegedly colluded to ensure tenders at the municipality were awarded to the preferred bidders. However, no action has been taken against Mnisi just yet. As a Section 56 manager, Mnisi is only accountable to the Tshwane City Manager and Council. EWN understands this pressure on the Tshwane Speaker to call a special council meeting where a vote will be taken on whether to suspend the CFO pending an independent investigation. In the meantime, Sergeant Faninkosi returns to the witness stand today for his 7th day of testimony at the Madlanga Commission. Sokoba, Eyewitness News.
The DA is calling for urgent accountability from the Education, Training and Development Practices SETA over more than 637 million rand in allegedly mismanaged funds. A report by the Auditor General points to missing records and serious governance failures. The money was meant to support bursaries and work-integrated learning for the youth. The DA says the report highlights poor record keeping, inaccurate financial reporting, and a lack of disciplinary action against officials linked to wasteful spending. The party's Karabo Khakau.
The leadership of the EDTP SETA must account before Parliament for where did they spend that money and who spent that money. They must account for each and every rand.
In the Western Cape, the Wynberg Regional Court is expected to decide the fate of alleged paedophile Ian Weyers today. The 86-year-old former teacher is on trial for allegedly sexually abusing a learner at a school in 1988. Child advocacy group Women and Men Against Child Abuse has accused Weyers of attempting to avoid accountability by claiming memory loss. He testified that he taught around 2,700 boys during his career and cannot remember individual learners. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
The Wynberg Regional Court is expected to deliver judgment in the child sexual abuse case today. Women and Men Against Child Abuse says Weyers' testimony cannot be accepted as justification for the alleged abuse. The group is calling for a verdict that reflects the seriousness of the allegations and is urging the court to reject any minimization of abuse. Founding director Miranda Jordan says the case highlights both the resilience of survivors and ongoing challenges within the justice system. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And the head of the International Energy Agency says the global economy is under major threat from the energy crisis caused by the Middle East war, and no country will be immune to its effects. Fatih Birol was speaking at the National Press Club in Australia this morning. Birol compared the current energy crisis to those of the 1970s and the impact of Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. US President Donald Trump and Tehran have issued tit-for-tat threats as the war entered its fourth week, with the US president demanding the Islamic Republic reopen the blocked Strait of Hormuz, through which around 20% of the world's oil and gas shipment transit. The bottleneck has nearly halted all petroleum shipments through the narrow waterway. Birol compared the current energy crisis to those of the 1970s and the impact of the Russian war on Ukraine in 2022.
Not only oil and gas, some of the vital arteries of the global economy, such as petrochemical, such as fertilizers, such as sulfur, such as helium, their trade is all interrupted.
Gold is trading at $4,356.36 an ounce. The rand is at 17.12 to the dollar, 22.81 to the pound, 19.77 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $112.88 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks taking place in Tembisa along the R21 North, right near Olifantsfontein Road. And they are causing heavy traffic volumes, especially if you are leaving Kempton Park. While traveling on the N1 South out of Midrand, we've got a car stuck on the road. It's on the N1 South in the shoulder lane. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care.
And in your sports, Sundowns lost 2-0 to Stade Malien but advanced to a fourth consecutive Champions League semi-final on a 3-2 aggregate. Manchester City are League Cup champions after a 2-0 win over Arsenal. Orlando Pirates merciless in a 6-goal victory over TS Galaxy to go top of the table. And a successful Live Golf event wraps up at Steyn City with Bryson DeChambeau, the winner, beating John Ram on a playoff.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg is at a low of 16 degrees, peaking at 24. Pretoria 18 and 24. Vereeniging 17 and 26. The top story in EWN this hour. Consequence management has already started in the city of Tshwane after senior officials and politicians were implicated in tender rigging during explosive evidence at the Madlanga Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. It's the start of a brand new week. It's Monday, the 23rd of March, the year of our Lord 2026. If you've just joined us, welcome to the program. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa. You know, every now and again, there's a story in the news that grabs your attention and that you just think, no man, not even you. Not even you. So, over the weekend, news broke that the former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI in the US, one Robert Mueller, had passed away. This was a guy who was appointed under George W. Bush. He is the second longest serving director of the FBI, and he remained in his position even during the Obama administration because it was felt that he was a non-partisan guy. He wasn't into party politics, but that he was just there to do his job. At some point, of course, he leaves the FBI and he is then brought in by the new director, James Comey, to look at alleged links between Russia and the Trump campaign in 2016. He issued a report which didn't fully exonerate Donald Trump, nor did it necessarily blame him, but it certainly raised a number of questions. He died this weekend, and the response from former President Barack Obama was that Mueller was one of the finest directors in the history of the FBI, transformed the Bureau after 9/11, and saved countless lives. The current president wrote this: Robert Mueller died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Right? Barack Obama says, Michelle and I send our condolences to Bob's family and everyone who knew him and admired him. Donald Trump says, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. Yeah, ne?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
In the meantime, the Iranians, as far as this unfolding conflict in the Middle East is concerned, the Iranians have shown their capabilities to launch long-range missiles. They've done so at that US-UK base in the Indian Ocean. And speaking in Israel this past weekend, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now warning the Europeans that if that's what the Iranians can do, they certainly can reach London or Paris. And he says they now need to join this war effort against Iran.
Third, they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile on Diego Garcia. That's 4,000 kilometers. I've been warning all the time They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights. And fourth, they're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world. What more proof do you need that this regime that threatens the entire world has to be stopped? Israel and the United States are working together for the entire world. And it's time to see the leaders of the rest of the countries join up.
That is what Benjamin Netanyahu is calling for. And he says this is evidence now that everybody else, particularly their European allies, need to join this war effort.
The third thing they did is they fired an intercontinental ballistic missiles 4,000 kilometers right into Diego Garcia, the American-British base. They can reach now with these ballistic missiles everywhere in Europe, almost everywhere in Europe. I've been warning that for years. The fourth thing that they did is that they shut down the important maritime strait of Hormuz, trying to blackmail the world with oil terror blackmail. Four things that they're doing in 48 hours. And I ask the leaders of the world, the leaders of the free world, the leaders of the moderate states, what more are you waiting for? President Trump has correctly said that Israel, the United States and Israel in this great partnership, we're fighting the battle not only for ourselves, but for all of you. And he asked a simple question, where are you? And it's time to heed President Trump's call, his leadership, and his vision, not merely for our sake, but for your sake.
They're doing it for us, hey? They're doing it for us. Where was the price of oil before all of this began? How were the Gulf states before all of this began? I mean, you've got to look at a place like Dubai, which created this financial hub for tourism, for financial services, for all. I mean, Dubai was no longer making most of its money from oil, right? And their whole unique selling point was how safe it was and how you could do business and how it was such a connecting point between Europe, the Far East, Africa, and North America and elsewhere in the world. They felt that they were at the center of the earth. How many people are now leaving Dubai because there are no tourists to go to those restaurants, to go to those hotels? How many people who are rich, who are part of the financial services sector, have left Dubai because they don't feel that it is safe there anymore? Would you live in a high-rise building at a time when there are missiles raining down? I mean, we haven't seen that kind of thing yet, right? And the operative word there is yet.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
14 after 7, things you need to know at this hour. It's the birthday of one of the greatest singers to have ever picked up a microphone, Shaka Khan, born Yvette Marie Stevens on this day in 1953, is an iconic American singer-songwriter celebrated as the Queen of Funk. She rose to prominence in the 1970s, a lead vocalist of the band Rufus, and because she launched, before she launched a hugely successful solo career.
You're not trusting your heart to anyone. You tell me.
Things heating up in the Democratic Alliance. Karabo Khao announcing what she says is her forced withdrawal for contesting the DA's deputy chairperson position. She says she was granted a letter which said she was not in good financial standing over a previously missed payment to the party. It's almost like a tithe, if you will. She maintains she no longer owes this money, that she paid it. It was an oversight, but nonetheless, she rectified the matter. But she's been told she can't stand for this position, something she says is not being applied the same way as it has to others. And of course, people will ask the question, is yet another black leader in the Democratic Alliance being sidelined? Now, at what point, Amo, do you think, and I'll make this gender specific, do you think a man might be too old to have children? I think nature pretty much takes care of when women can and cannot have kids. Men can have kids well into their 90s if they so choose. I ask this question because the Afrikaans music legend Anton Goosen, who is how old, Amo? 80 years old.
80.
Is expecting a baby with his wife. He says it's a joyful new chapter in his life. It's news that has sparked quite interesting reactions. He says he's positive, saying life is a gift. At a time when many are taking theirs, he is bringing life. But I wonder if it doesn't perpetuate the idea that men aren't really here to raise the babies. Yes, they can make them, but why should they have to worry about raising them? Or do you think, let's leave them alone? If they are, as a couple, happy with this, who are we? I just think at 80 years old, would he even be able to carry the baby?
It's quite unique. It's really unique. And I think because it's a rare case. So, I mean, that's the reason for the questions and all of that.
80-year-olds shouldn't be having babies, in my view.
702. Up next.
The big interview. EWN Traffic.
Do we need so many municipalities when so many of them are barely functional? That's what we're going to be speaking about up next. In the meantime, though, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. See just how far you can go with them. Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we do have a car stuck on the road. It's on the N1 South. This is just as you leave Midrand. The cars after Allendale Road is causing heavy delays. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic on the R21 North approaching Olifantsfontein Road. This is due to roadworks that are taking place along this route. I'll have more updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today. 702.
The big interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
18 minutes after 7, on to this now. We have 257 municipalities in South Africa, but for many of them, the picture is pretty bleak. We're talking about crumbling infrastructure, whether it's water, electricity, or even the roads. The Auditor General's reports show quite frequently, many of them don't achieve clean audits. In fact, 16% was the figure for 2023-2024. Our next guest asks the question, do we need all of these municipalities, or is it time to amalgamate some of them, make them into stronger structures with perhaps more oversight, rather than these places that don't deliver services and whose residents are miserable as a result? Professor Joseph Sekhampu is the Chief Director of the Northwest University Business School and joins us now. A very good morning to you, sir, and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning, Kolani, and thank you for having me.
It's Bongani, I'm afraid. It's Bongani, Prof. You start your piece with a really interesting thought, and it's really what grabbed me, and I'm going to quote from it now. You say hundreds of local councils operate as if the Constitution demanded their existence, but not their viability. Surely the criterion on which we should be having these municipalities has to be, are they viable?
Yes, I mean, that's the real question. If you go anywhere in South Africa, most of the municipalities are really non-functional. And my argument in the article is that they don't have any economic base to support proper governance. We do have transfers from the government, but we really need to look beyond national transfers to say whether it makes logical sense to keep all the 257 municipalities. So that's the core argument I'm making.
Some people have argued that it isn't the failure of the municipalities, but it is how they are designed. In other words, that municipalities cannot rely entirely on local rates and taxes being paid by residents and businesses, but that there should be allocations from national government, from Treasury, that should be part of the design. It doesn't necessarily have to be so, you say.
Transfers are essential, Bongani, especially in poorer areas, but they cannot replace local government base. And the other important element with the small municipalities is that they're all trying to attract engineers, CFOs, municipal managers, whereas a more consolidated, much more bigger municipality will make sense. Let me just give you a practical example that will be closer to home. If you look at Fezile Davi in the Free State, you have two municipalities, Mwate, which is in Paris, and you have Metsimaholo, which is Sasolburg. And you and I know that to drive from Sasolburg to Paris is about 45 minutes. But you have those two municipalities, each with its challenges. Currently, for example, Mwate owes 3 billion to Eskom, and even Eskom is threatening to reduce electricity supply. But then my question is it really sustainable for the two of them, for each of them to maintain their own administrative leg to really arrest this problem? And when the alternative could be, isn't there an opportunity to then consolidate and say Sasolburg has got a more industrial base, there's a bit of tourism in Paris, and all the outlying small areas have no functioning economic basis? Then my argument will be, if you combine the two, as an example, you might have a more senior engineer, you might attract a stronger accountant, oversight can be improved without really compromising the impact on democracy. So I'm not suggesting as to how many, but my argument is that we have done this in 1994. We consolidated homelands into local municipalities, and possibly this is an opportunity for us to really say, sending administrators to go and fix writing off debt is not sustainable in the long term. Maybe we really need to look at whether the current structure fits the economic base of the country.
You've touched on revenue, but I think administrative depth is something that perhaps we don't talk enough about. I mean, I recall when members of different municipalities appeared before members of parliament, and in a number of cases, they couldn't even explain what their jobs entailed. They couldn't explain why they were earning the sums that they were. And often what little revenue is collected by a municipality goes towards paying salaries of people who don't understand, can't explain their jobs, and there's little spent on maintenance or even building new infrastructure.
Exactly that. And to my argument, one of the big challenges is really attracting senior and talented individuals in these key technical areas. And if you have all these small fragmented municipalities competing for talent, it's very difficult to keep educated people in these economies. But consolidation then gives you an opportunity to pool revenue, to pool resources, and to improve on governance. I mean, you have, even in other parts of the country, you have similar challenges. You have Umtata, a huge population, but little economic base. You have Twatwa in the Free State, a huge population base, a small economy. And for me, it really is saying, let's really look at them. Let's really see where the economic base of the countries are, and let's consolidate around them.
Is there any appetite or political will for this consideration?
It's always a challenge in the country because, you know, in many of the reports, even in Madlanga Commission, you will see that municipalities are sites of patronage, of employment. So politically, it might not make sense, but fidelity to the Constitution really asks us as citizens to really reflect as to whether keeping these municipalities for their own sake is really saving our democracy.
I'm just thinking from a political point of view, much of the landscape looks the way that it does, most principally because it also benefits particular political interests. There may be some who will say redrawing the map in this way might favor one party versus others.
Yeah. I think in a low employment absorption world or country, there will always be that tension in politics because most of the people that are really employed in these areas are representatives of politicians. So I don't think there will be a huge appetite from the politicians. But if you look at it from an economic perspective and sustainability, you drive through some of the small towns, you really find 4 or 5 small shops. There might be one retail shop, and you ask yourself, how do people really survive here? So you're right in that, especially around election years, municipalities are sites of employment, sites of patronage, and there will not really be any incentive for the politicians to open this discussion. But from a sustainability and economic perspective, it makes sense to really say, can we really look at these municipalities?
You're saying, and I'm going to quote from your article, it was in the Sunday Times, by the way, for anybody who wants to know, that insisting every municipality must survive in the name of local voice can become profoundly anti-democratic. What do you mean?
I'm saying, if you look at some of the small towns, access to water, which is enshrined in the Constitution, access to basic services is no longer guaranteed. You have smaller towns where every single day there will be no water. And these are the principles that are enshrined in the Constitution. And we are now saying, okay, we want to extend reach and we want people to have local voices. But isn't it that we are risking negatively impacting our Constitution if we are insisting that they exist for their own sake? So it's not necessarily preserving the Constitution. At this point, we are found the derelict of keeping to the principles on things like water.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to keep them for their own sake.
And they're often sites of looting because of those local voices, right? Because the national eye, as it were, is focused elsewhere.
And maybe just the last point on that, Korani. Also, in smaller municipalities, you have professionals who have left those communities. So the sense of oversight is non-existent. Then, to your point, then it becomes an environment where the vicious cycle repeats itself. There's an intervention from the government, there's a write-off of debt, and then we go back to the same challenges. Water is not supplied, electricity is not supplied. And I'm arguing that bigger municipalities gives us a chance to provide that kind of oversight in attracting skills individuals to make them sustainable.
All right, Professor Sekhampo, appreciate your time, Chief Director of the Northwest University Business School. Are you convinced by his arguments, or do you look at Johannesburg? Forget all the others, right? The biggest metro itself in trouble. eThekwini was in trouble for quite some time. Mangaung is no great shakes. Buffalo City. Do you look at that and say maybe the problem isn't the size of local government, it's the people in it?
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
We've got a major accident scene reported in the city of Tshwane along the N1 South that happened near the Brockfontein interchange. Bongani, I'll have more details about this scene coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
With Outsurance, saving on your car insurance feels like finding the last parking spot at the mall. 45-year-old Jason saves an unbelievable 520 Rand on his 2025 Hyundai i10. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 4512. That's out to 4512. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
EWN Business.
Uteo, the fashion group Foschini, suffering as consumers spend cautiously.
Yeah, the retailer expects earnings to fall by more than 20% for the year to March, worse than it had previously signaled. The firm is preparing for a very tough year, warning that profits will drop sharply as shoppers tighten their belts. The retailer has been impacted by a global uncertainty, pushing up input prices for them, more cautious consumers in South Africa as well. There are, however, some bright spots. The Foschini Group Africa sales grew 7.6%. Online sales rose strongly by 55%, contributing 14.7% to the total group sales. For the year to date, sales in Africa are up 5%. The company's shares were up 2% on Friday.
The markets?
A lot of cautious trade in Asian markets. Japan's Nikkei down 5% this morning, widening losses for the earlier session, while the broad-based topics also dropped 4.4%. Australia's S&P ASX 200 down 2.4%. A lot of anxiety about where the war will go next.
Your indicators.
The Rand lower, weaker this morning, 17 Rand 12 cents against the US dollar, down by 0.5% at 19 Rand 77 against the euro, and at 22 Rand 81 cents against the British pound. The price of gold down 2.5% at $4,375 an ounce, while platinum is down close to 4% at $1,849. Brent crude still high though at $112 a barrel. More business after 8.
Time now for the latest eyewitness news. We've just had a conversation about consolidating smaller municipalities, but as you're about to tell us, Sfiso Zulu, even the metros struggle, don't they?
That's right, Bongani, especially in the waterfront. Joburg residents who are without supply are being urged to be patient while supply is being restored slowly. The city's Commando, Soweto and Deep South water systems are constrained. Places affected are Westbury, Westdean, Doornkop, Protea Glen and Lenasia. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Joburg Water says the affected systems are experiencing challenges due to low water levels in the respective reservoirs. To help improve this, the water entity is conducting regular and unscheduled water cuts. These interventions will help bring water levels to increased supply. High-lying areas will be the last to receive water. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
The Cape Town Regional Court has ordered that a man convicted of rape, kidnapping and attempted murder be listed on the National Register for sex offenders. The 48-year-old, whose name has been withheld to protect his young children, was found guilty of assaulting his partner. He has been sentenced to 18 years in prison. Camray Clark reports.
Western Cape Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Nicolette Bell, has condemned the brutal gender-based violence, saying the perpetrator inflicted abuse on a woman he claimed to love, someone he was supposed to protect. National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson Eric Ndabazalile says the man's name has been withheld to protect his minor children.
The court has ordered these particulars to be included into the National Register for Sex Offenders and declared him unfit to possess a firearm.
In her victim impact statement, the partner said she will never forget the abuse and continues to suffer trauma. The NPA says it remains committed to the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. Camray Clark, Eyewitness News.
Some NPOs representing young people have flagged systemic failures at TVET colleges, labeling them as human rights violations. Youth Capital and Equal Education say escalating registration fees, limited water supply and lack of stationery undermine students' rights to dignity and access to further education. They say large numbers of first-year students drop out due to uncertainty around funding and allowances. Youth Capital's Buhlebethu Magwaza is calling for timely payments and access to accommodation.
We are still seeing high dropout rates, particularly amongst first-year students. And preventing this requires a system that is predictable from the outset.
And Cuba's power grid has been restored a day after the second nationwide blackout in a week as the crisis-hit island struggles under a U.S. oil blockade. The Energy Ministry reported a total disconnection on the national electric system in the country of 9.6 million people. Authorities cautioned, however, that demand would still exceed supply. The outage comes as Cuba's government has faced growing pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, who imposed the de facto oil blockade in January and considered this past week about taking the Caribbean island. Deputy Foreign Minister Carlos Fernandes de Cosio says they are willing to continue talking with Washington, but discussing changes to its political system is off the table. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 16 and 18 degrees, peaking at highs between 24 and 26.
There's queuing traffic along the N3 North between the Gilulis interchange and Modderfontein Road. Roadworks are taking place along this route, as well as an accident. So please be on the lookout and be patient if you already find yourself in this backlog and heading towards the Gilulis interchange. Do expect heavier traffic volumes approaching Barber Road along the R24 East, coming out of the OR Tambo Airport.
The top story this hour: Joburg residents without water are being urged to be patient while supply is slowly being restored.
Did you know that you are entitled to buy a new, demo, or used car without a service or a maintenance plan? You can also use an independent workshop for all servicing and maintenance needs without your warranty being automatically voided. Independent workshops are entitled to all technical info and parts needed to work on your vehicle, so you can shop around for the best price and service. Right to Repair. It's your choice. Visit righttorepair.org.za.
Imagine beginning your holiday to the sound of the ocean and ending it with a sunset encounter with the Big Five. Club Med is bringing their brand new beach and safari resort to KwaZulu-Natal this July. It's the first of its kind, combining a beachfront escape with a private safari lodge experience, all in one holiday. It sounds divine. Plus, it's fully all-inclusive, so think gourmet dining, activities, wellness, and more. Take advantage of the Club Med season opening sale from 24 to 27 March. Book at clubmed.co.za. T's and C's apply.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. So just to add to your point, it's not just who's in them, it's who deployed in them. And then you'll understand that all these municipalities that has these problems have a cadre association to the ANC. Because every single municipality, specifically in the small towns, are littered with incompetence and, like the professor said, lack of professional skills, because who created that problem in the first place? But yet, let's vote for them again.
Morning, Bongani, Charlotte and Rutherford. I partly agree with Prof, especially for the small municipalities, that maybe some consolidation would lead to a better standardized service delivery. But my concern is that, remember, government is a big employer in this country. And in the midst of unemployment, you can see that one of their approach is to creating all these positions in government and duplicating departments in the name of service delivery and more soldiers on the ground as a measure to deal with unemployment. So the moment we consolidate and we do away with duplicate departments, positions, then we are crippling another big issue in the country, which is unemployment.
Sure, Bongs. I grew up in Sasolburg. I would not want Sasolburg to merge with anyone, Paris or anyone for that matter, because as things are, Sasolburg cannot even close a pothole. A pothole. I went home the other day and I sacrificed a Mac wheel and a tire just for going home. So in their current state, if they're so poor in managing the municipality, won't they affect whoever they merge with? They must fix themselves first. It's my always a disappointment, really.
Well, maybe that's the problem, right? Because, and I'll go back to perhaps the previous voice note, which says, yeah, but if you have all these municipalities, it's one strategy, it's one approach for job creation. Yes, but who's going to be paying for those jobs if ultimately in the long run, those municipalities do not become viable, they're unsustainable? Those jobs won't be there in the first place. And so we've got a lot of duplicate functions. You've got two little dorpies next to each other, and each one has to have its own municipal manager. Each one has its own water specialist. Each one has its own roads guy. Each one, do you see what I mean? And neither are delivering to the residents. You put them together, you hopefully get the best skills, and maybe that's what will lead to growth and real jobs versus jobs for pals, which is what I understood from your comment. And then there's the emotional part where local residents don't want to be merged with that little town because they think that little town will be a drain on their resources. I suppose asking politicians to do this would be rather like asking turkeys to vote for Christmas. They're not going to do so. And yes, amalgamation could be one option to deal with our municipal failures, but maybe there's something you and I can do in the interim. We can make our mark for people who will actually deliver.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, a chance for you to win up to 3 2,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Let's get today's answer from Malitsatsi. Malitsatsi, please go ahead and give us today's answer.
Yes, Yvette Marie Stevens.
Yvette Marie Stevens. Yeah, I get it. When you say it like that, I get it. I'll explain why I'm saying that in just a moment. Malitsatsi, are you a member of Outsurance, or have you got yourself a quote?
Yes, I'm a member.
You biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. All right, if the answer is Yvette Marie Stevens, what might the question be? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Well, it was a bumper weekend of football. Some people will be happy with the results of the general weekend. Some other people will not.
Hopefully you're happy today on a Monday. Hopefully your team won on the weekend and you're going to work happy and you don't have to share the coffee station with people whose teams won if yours lost, because there's nothing worse on earth. But Mamelodi Sundowns are through to the fourth consecutive CAF Champions League semi-final despite losing 2-0 to Stade Malien. Sundowns still advancing on a 3-2 aggregate. Sundowns played most of the second half with 10 men after Modiba was sent off. Manchester City beat Arsenal 2-0 to win the League Cup. O'Reilly scoring 2 goals in 4 minutes in the second half, giving Pep Guardiola his 19th trophy at the club.
Do the performance, especially second half. The first 15 minutes they suffocated us, but after that we start to win a little bit second balls, and we make an incredible victory at the end. The Carabao Cup is not the Champions League, it's not the Premier League, of course, so everybody knows that. But win against that team, make that title special.
Orlando Pirates are back top of the Premiership table, and how do you know? Because Bongani's wearing his jersey. They're 1 point ahead of Sundowns after Pirates thrashed a 10-man TS Galaxy 6-0. 3 goals from Mofokeng there, while Durban City beat Richards Bay 1-0 to move up to 5th. Also 1-0 wins for Arrows and Sibalele over Skekone and Orbit. In the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest to stay 1 point above West Ham, who stay in the relegation zone. They lost 2-0 to Aston Villa. Also Sunderland beating Newcastle 2-1. In cricket, the Proteas T20 series decided with New Zealand on Wednesday after South Africa won the fourth T20 by 19 runs, while the Proteas women lost to New Zealand by 6 wickets. They trail 3-1. Live Golf wrapped up in South Africa with Bryson DeChambeau beating John Ram on a playoff hole after they'd both finished on 26 under. The South African team, the Southern Guards, came so close, finishing 1 behind DeChambeau's winning team Crushers GC. Dean Burmester says it was a phenomenal week.
I mean, obviously a little gutted we didn't get it done, but I'm proud to be South African. I think South Africa showed up and we've put on the greatest show in golf. I think it's clear to see the greatest fans in the world, and they came out in their thousands and they were behind us all the way, and we threw everything at it, but Crushers did an amazing job today and they managed to pip us by 1. So that's the nature of the beast, but we're going to be back next year and we're going to be stronger and we're going to be ready to tackle this thing again.
Live Golf was signed to South Africa for 3 years, so yesterday it was confirmed it will return to Steyn City next year in April. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, Live Golf's coming back. It was signed. They were just confirming that it will stay at Steyn City. Okay. All the South African teams won in the United Rugby Championships this weekend, including the Stormers yesterday, who beat the Dragons 29-21. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Every bunny needs a holiday. And with FlySafair's affordable fares, there's no excuse not to go. That's right. If there's one hunt worth taking seriously this Easter, it's the hunt for a great fare. That's where our low fare finder comes in. Simply enter your destination and your travel month, and you'll quickly be able to pinpoint the cheapest days to fly. Head to flysafair.co.za and use our low fare finder to lock down those Easter flights now. FlySafair, for the love of flying.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now. Save water. every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
EWN Traffic.
7:45 on the nose. This EWN traffic brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. Amo?
Bongani, let's start in the city of Tshwane with that major accident seen along the N1 South that happened right after Nelmepius Drive. It is causing heavy traffic volumes, about a 20-minute hold up, especially if you're coming out of the Flying Saucer turnoff. Please be on the lookout there. Rather use the R21 South, especially if you're heading towards areas like Kempton Park or even Midrand. If you're traveling in Centurion, we've got another accident seen on the N14 East. This one happened right after the R55. It's also causing heavy traffic volumes there. And there's also slow-moving traffic in Ferndale along Hill Street, right at Hans Koeman Drive. This is due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range. It's built tough for South African conditions. Persia pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. So whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. What's the question? If the answer is Yvette Marie Stevens, let's go to... Who's on the line? Sipho in Pretoria? What's the question?
Hello, Bongani. The question is, name the American singer and songwriter who's better known by her stage name as Chaka Khan and also known as the Queen of Funk, born on this day, 1953.
You've covered all your bases. Sipho, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
I'm a client, Bongani.
Your biscuit, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Yes, indeed. If your name was Yvette Marie, you might want to be called Chaka Khan, if this is what you're going to be singing. Now, she isn't without controversy, is our Ms. Chaka Khan. There's a clip that's been doing the rounds on social media. Mary J. Blige. She is called the Queen of Hip Hop Soul, and one of her idols is Chaka Khan. She was speaking on a podcast called R&B Money Podcast. She shares a story about meeting one of her idols early in her career, and most speculation is that she's talking about Chaka Khan. Have a listen.
I just met this person, and I was so excited to meet them. And this is when, back then, when your roots was dark and your hair was blonde, but people didn't know what it was, but we knew what it was. Okay. So this person goes, you really should dye your hair, your roots the same color as your hair. And you need to learn how to sing on key. I ain't saying no names, but I was like, okay, let me go and see if I'm singing flat or whatever that means.
Right.
So, but I ain't saying no names. I was like, that was because I was excited to meet this person, and
somebody that you really looked up to.
Someone that I absolutely love so much.
Was it Chaka Khan, who has been on the record as saying Mary J. Blige sang her remake of the hit Sweet Thang off key? Was it Chaka Khan? Was it Aretha? Who do you think?
Don't pay more than you need to for car insurance. 27-year-old Outsurance client Liam is saving big bucks.
I'm saving so much every month, around 640 Rand.
That's an amazing 640 Rand saving on Liam's 2024 Ranger. SMS out to 45142. Let's hear how 45-year-old Nivan feels about saving 461 Rand a month on his 2025 VW T-Cross.
Saving me so much money, 461 Rand.
Nice one. And after 3 claim-free years, you get an out bonus.
So much money.
Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. If you don't save, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash. You have nothing to lose with Outsurance. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
In business, the right connections change everything. It's the stability you need for that once-in-a-lifetime virtual pitch, the lightning-fast speeds that keep you ahead of deadlines, and the consistent, high-quality signal your teams rely on every day. Because when your connectivity works seamlessly, so does your business. Power your workday with fast, reliable fiber from OpenServe, built to keep your operations running at full speed. Visit openserve.co.za today to learn more. T's and C's apply.
Do you suffer from heartburn and hyperacidity? To relieve heartburn for the whole day and night with one tablet, a potent once-a-day treatment which was previously prescription only is now available over the counter. Ask your pharmacist for an over-the-counter, long-lasting heartburn treatment. Brought to you by Sandoz.
Let's hear from Al, owner of Johnson's Cable, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
I thought it was going to be difficult to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
This one is for the ages. The rival shakes.
I mean, if you think about the original milkshakes that you have, so you either are a Super M or a Steri Stumpy fan. And, then you got to pick your flavor, whether it's chocolate or strawberry. And both of them are very, very good, I must say. If I had to pick one, I would go for the Super M, just because it's a little bit more creamier for me. And you got that nice little bit of chocolate that, gathers at the bottom, and then you tap it and shake it a bit, and then it gets all mixed. It's really, really nice. So at the Live event, I think he's a super sport guy. I'm not too sure who he is, but he put a challenge to Bryson DeChambeau, who's a big fan of shakes. And he gave him a taste live at a press conference. And he kind of said to him, in South Africa, we take things very serious from this. And then he threw in how we take Steri Stumpy and Super M serious in South Africa. And he asked him to do this taste and kind of pick which one he preferred. So whilst we listen to Bryson doing the taste test, let's think about which one you like, and then we'll ask a further question thereafter.
Steri Stumpy Super M taste test live.
That's solid. That's nice. I like it.
Okay, out of 10?
Out of 10, it's pretty smooth. A little bit of cream to it.
It's not a whiskey.
And I know. That's the wrong cap. I'm probably going to give it and I'm very, very particular when it comes to stuff. Probably a 7-8. I'd say 7-8, yeah.
7-8?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so,
Yeah, come on, dude. Come on, dude. It's not a game anymore.
Yeah, no, that's close to a 9 there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Super M over Sterry Stumpy, according to Bryson DeChambeau. There's no longer a debate. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. This is good.
Do you want it?
Yeah, sure.
I'm more of a Sterry Stumpy, but I don't think, in fairness, I don't think I've ever done the comparison. I think it's just Sterry Stumpy was the brand I always bought, and then when I had kids, that's what you get.
Yeah, when my mate, when he comes back to South Africa for his annual holiday, he always grabs the Sterry Stumpy over the Super M.
Yeah.
And I go for the Super M over the Sterry Stumpy. For my reasons. But yeah, what is your favorite? But then let's widen it a little bit and we talk about rivals. So if you want to maybe ask, what other rivals are there and which one, in your opinion, is the winner? So, I mean, there's the obvious one. You could say Bovril versus Marmite. I mean, there's clear divisions there when people have to pick. Maybe you don't like it at all. Simba Chips versus Willards. So there's so many. I'd love to hear what people's opinions are on the rivals.
So I think we could do the rivals, but also we could just have that brand that wins that category.
Yes.
Right? Because, for example, it's no longer just Simba versus Willards. There's so many other chip brands now that are on the market, right? Crisp brands. So it becomes tricky to say which one. But is there a brand that dominates a particular product? For example, there's no tomato sauce that comes anywhere near All Gold. The others can close up shop.
Mayonnaise is another one. Mayonnaise.
Right?
Yeah.
Mayo's tricky.
I have my favorite.
Which one?
It's the Heinz. It has to be Heinz.
The Heinz, yes.
Yeah.
I see you. I see you, because now there's Be Well and there's Cross and Blackwell and there's, they're all sorts. Nolan's, is it? Nola.
Yes.
Nola. Right?
Nola. But isn't that like kind of very fat reduced?
I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe that's a good thing.
Some of us have waistlines.
Which brands dominate which product? And what are those rivals? And which one do you choose?
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. Get all-inclusive fares, your seat, your meal, and your baggage. It's all in. Book at flysaa.com. Still issues in Pretoria, Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. The N1 South quite problematic this morning. An accident right near John Forster Drive. It's causing delays coming out of the Flying Saucer turnoff. Please be on the lookout there or try to use the R21 South. If you are traveling out of Centurion, also queuing traffic on the N14 East. This is between the R55 and the Braakfontein interchange due to another accident scene. So please be on the lookout if you're traveling within these areas and keep it safe on the roads. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702. Feedback.
With Rupfiwa Kone.
Rupfiwa?
Yes.
You must agree with me. There's only one tomato sauce.
Yeah, I do. I do really enjoy Old Gold tomato sauce.
And canned goods. Do they have to be Koo?
Ish, with the taste and the quality and the thickness, I think Koo does something different. I don't know.
But,
With others,
the Rhodes strawberry jam.
I'm not into jam, Bongani.
The Rhodes strawberry jam on toast. Can put a bit of cream there.
What about your custards? Ultramel versus Parmalat? Are you not into?
I'm a Parmalat person. It's less sweet than the Ultramel.
And your ice cream? Do you prefer your Magnums or your tin roofs? What do you?
Ooh, no, Gino Ginelli.
Hmm.
Gino Ginelli, no question.
So many things out there, Bongani.
What else you got?
Bongani, we have feedback from your 6:50 interview with Tebogo Gas, with Bulelani from Johannesburg, asking why we still need both district and local municipalities. And if you remember correctly, the two-tier system was put in place so that the local municipality can handle community service level kind of problems, while the district supports your broader regional planning, especially in rural areas and so on and so forth. However, if these two are not doing what they were supposed to or put in place for, then it defeats the purpose.
And that's the
completely,
question. Is
Bongani.
it a design flaw or is it about the personnel? That's really the question as far as all of this is concerned. I imagine you keep saying Bongani so that people know it's not Bongani.
They still remember your predecessor, Bongani. He's very hard to forget. But however, we still love you, nonetheless.
Thank you, Baphelile. It's
Baphelile.
time now for the latest Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
All bodies have been retrieved at Ekapa mines, and the IEA warns the world is losing more barrels of oil each day. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The bodies of 5 mine workers who were trapped underground at Ekapa mine in the Northern Cape have been recovered. It comes after 2 bodies were pulled out yesterday at the operations in Kimberley. The remains of 1 miner were found about 2 weeks ago after the group was trapped in a mudslide. Mine Rescue Services, Mana Furrow.
Yes, we concluded in the early mornings this morning. So we took out all the people that was missing during the mud crash that occurred. And yes, it's nice for us to conclude and to give closure to the families and to be appreciative of our rescue team members that did this work safely for us.
Consequence management has already started in the city of Tshwane after senior officials and politicians were implicated in tender rigging. Action SA Tshwane Councillor Kolofelo Morodi was the first domino to fall after being placed on special leave from her role as MMC for Corporate and Shared Services. This weekend, Deputy Commissioner of Metro Police's Department, Umashi Dlamini, was also suspended. The acts of wrongdoing were revealed during the testimony of Sergeant Faninkosi at the Madlanga Commission last week. Tabiso Goba reports.
Among those implicated in the testimony of Sergeant Faninkosi, no one is more compromised than Tshwane's Chief Financial Officer, Gareth Mnisi. Evidence before the commission shows Mnisi and Nkosi allegedly colluded to ensure tenders at the municipality were awarded to their preferred bidders. However, no action has been taken against Mnisi just yet. As a Section 56 manager, Mnisi is only accountable to the Tshwane City Manager and Council. EWN understands this pressure on the Tshwane Speaker to call a special council meeting where a vote will be taken on whether to suspend the CFO pending an independent investigation. In the meantime, Sergeant Faninkosi returns to the witness stand today for his 7th day of testimony at the Madlanga Commission. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The Wynberg Regional Court is expected to decide the fate of alleged paedophile Ian Weyers today. The 86-year-old former teacher is on trial for allegedly sexually abusing a learner in 1988. Child advocacy group Women and Men Against Child Abuse has accused Weyers of attempting to avoid accountability by claiming memory loss. Weyers has testified that he taught around 2,700 boys during his career and cannot remember individual learners. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
The Wynberg Regional Court is expected to deliver judgment in the child sexual abuse case today. Women and Men Against Child Abuse says Weyers' testimony cannot be accepted as justification for the alleged abuse. The group is calling for a verdict that reflects the seriousness of the allegations and is urging the court to reject any minimization of abuse. Founding director Miranda Jordan says the case highlights both the resilience of survivors and ongoing challenges within the justice system. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And the head of the International Energy Agency says the global economy is under major threat from the energy crisis caused by the Middle East war, and no country will be immune to its effects. Fatih Birol was speaking at the National Press Club in Australia this morning. Birol compared the current energy crisis to those of the 1970s. US President Donald Trump and Tehran have issued tit-for-tat threats as the war entered its fourth week, with the U.S. president demanding the Islamic Republic reopen the blocked Strait of Hormuz, through which around 20% of the world's oil and gas shipment transit. The bottleneck has nearly halted all petroleum shipments through the narrow waterway. Burrell compared the current energy crisis to those of the 1970s and the impact of Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine.
Not only oil and gas, some of the vital arteries of the global economy, such as petrochemical, such as fertilizers, such as sulfur, such as helium, their trade is all interrupted.
Gold is trading at $4,356.36 an ounce. The rand is at 17.12 to the dollar, 22.81 to the pound, 19.77 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $112.88 a barrel.
In the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Gilulis interchange and Berfontein Road. That's due to an accident. There's also queuing traffic reported in Kempton Park. This is along the R21 North approaching Pomona Road. That's due to an accident.
And in your sport, Orlando Pirates back top of the Premiership table after a 6-0 hammering of Galaxy. Manchester City are League Cup champions. They cruise past Arsenal 2-0. Love Golf hailed a massive success as players state the South African atmosphere was the best so far. DeChambeau won on a playoff. And the men's top tennis seed, Carlos Alcaraz, is out of the Miami Open in the round of 32.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the bodies of 5 people who were trapped underground at Ekapa mine in the Northern Cape have all been recovered.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 8 o'clock. Gosh, trapped in a mudslide. 2 weeks ago, it happened. 2 bodies pulled out yesterday. And yet, by some miracle, 5 of the bodies of the miners that were trapped underground in that Northern Cape mine have been found. It's an awful story, is it not? And it just reminds us of the precarious nature of the business, the industry that built this country.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The head of the International Energy Agency saying the global economy is under now a major threat from this energy crisis that's unfolding in West Asia, and no country is going to be immune from its effects. They're trying to recall a number of crises that have happened over time. The 22 Russian invasion of Ukraine, certainly one, but then what we saw about oil in the 1970s. President Donald Trump, the US president, giving Iran 48 hours to reopen the Straits of Hormuz, or he says he will obliterate their energy infrastructure. This was, of course, a war that he justified, at least at the beginning, in part as a liberation effort for the people of Iran, whose electricity infrastructure he now wants to obliterate if that Strait of Hormuz is not opened. And I played you audio from the Israeli Prime Minister, who is now saying to the Europeans, you also could be in danger, so you need to join this war effort. It's on behalf of the whole world, he says. And then perhaps let's repeat just this little nugget. Benjamin Netanyahu speaking at the site of an Iranian attack in the southern Israeli city of Arad, where you can see, in terms of the visuals, residential buildings completely destroyed by a missile. And Benjamin Netanyahu, of all people, takes issue with the Iranians targeting civilian areas.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it.
In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians. Second, they fired on Jerusalem right next to the holy sites of the three monotheistic faiths, the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And by dint of a miracle again, none of them were hurt, but they were targeting the holy sites of the three major monotheistic religions.
This is, of course, from the Israeli Prime Minister, whose defense force has been doing what? How many civilians have been affected by the attacks even now in Iran? The Red Crescent in that country saying 40,000 civilian buildings, including 10,000 homes, have been damaged by Israeli-US joint attacks. They've noted 500 schools and various medical facilities, shops and courthouses. This is the UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, saying 500 of those have been destroyed in Iran. I don't have to tell you about Gaza. I don't have to tell you about the West Bank. I don't have to tell you about Lebanon and Syria. But Benjamin Netanyahu is outraged by this evil government going after civilian targets.
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011-883-0702.
We're asking you a number of questions, including Kabazela's, which is the king of the brands. The product you love using, and there's only one brand for that product that you will use. I thought the tomato sauce debate was settled, and during the news, we had a furious debate in the studio because Muteo and Amo disagree with me. How dare they? Amo?
Wellington's is the best. I mean, I grew up on all gold, but I can't help it. Wellington's is just the way. The texture, the flavor, and the variations. Like you can have one for fries if you want to make chips, or if you want to, use it as normal as the way we use. So I like that.
Really? For me, Wellington's, in the days I used to buy sweet chili sauce.
Yes.
Now I make my own. But in the days I used to buy it, Wellington's definitely got the sweet chili sauce. Tomato sauce?
Yeah, and tomato sauce.
No. Mateo?
All Gold had how many tomatoes in it? 36?
Yay, when?
So I grew up on that, right?
Right.
The whole branding, 36
Jonga,
tomatoes.
in
But
a bottle.
I prefer Heinz now.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
It's all those years living in Turkey.
Hi, Cabazela, Lucretia here. Oh, I have to differ with you there. To me, Nola Ultra Creamy is the best mayonnaise.
Good morning, Bongani. It's Mali here. Bongos, one brand that suffocates the competition to the point that we even refer to the competition by this brand's name. That's Colgate. Whatever toothpaste that is out there, we as black people we always refer to it as Colgate. So Colgate, it beats the competition hands down. Thank you, Pongos.
Morning, Bongani. This is Selma from Roodepoort. I agree. It's definitely all gold tomato sauce over all the other ones. Thanks for the lovely show. Bye.
Bongani rivals, I think Uber versus Bolt. It's Uber.
Prabongos, Aromed, it's on its own league. Undisputed number one. Aromed. Hi.
Bongani, it's Betsy here from Johannesburg. I was thinking the standout brand for me is definitely Sunlight dishwashing liquid. I don't know any other dishwashing liquid. I don't care to know any other dishwashing liquid. My gran, who passed away, has used Sunlight for majority of her life, and I will continue to do so.
Hello, morning, Bongani and team. Aparia from a report. The brands that dominate is Atramel Vanilla Custard. That one with the yellow box. You eat it and then you tear it open and then you make sure it's white inside. Woo! That one. Number one.
Hi, Bongani. Best tomato sauce, all gold. Best fried chicken licken. Croissant local mayonnaise. Best team, I'll give it to you. It's Orlando Pirates at the moment.
And the best talk radio in the country, 702. That's it.
No, we like you. Pirates in 702. You can stay. You can stay. There's some debate. Definitely the dishwashing liquid one. Every time I've been unfaithful to sunlight, I've regretted it. What was KG saying?
KG says Colgate, it suppressed all the other brands because when you go shopping, they would say to you, which Colgate do you want? Aquafresh.
So Colgate has come to now mean toothpaste.
Yes.
Essentially, right? Oh, gosh. We also asked you things you've heard about, people you loved, admired, or knew, both in your private life or even in the public space, that surprised you. Information that came to you after they were gone. We've got Anonymous in Edenvale. Anonymous, good morning.
Good morning, Bongani and team. How are you guys?
We are well. We are well, thank you. Who do you want to tell us about?
About my dad. My dad, I call him Shabarinks. He was a Mr. Loverman. With the number of kids we discovered, yeah, shocking. For example, in 1979, he got 3 boys. Yes, which he only discovered recently.
Clearly not the same mom. Hold on, Anonymous. Clearly not the same mom.
No, not the same mom.
Unless they were triplets.
My father was Shabarinks, Mr. Loverman. But at home, he was the perfect father that you could think of. His rules were just out of this world.
And you had no idea?
No idea, but my mom knew about it, unfortunately. Yeah.
So how many siblings did you have in total? That you know of?
The ones that I know of outside my mom, I think there's about 7 or 8.
And with your mom?
With my mom, it's only 4.
So you think at least 11 kids he made?
Yes.
And you get on with the ones that came after?
There's one that I get along with very well. He even visits my mom. My mom has actually accepted him. He visits my mom when he goes there, he cooks and everything. Yeah. So a very good relationship with my mom.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, Anonymous. You think you know a guy, hey?
Yes, definitely.
You think you know a guy. All right, Anonymous calling us from Edenvale. This all comes in the wake of the passing of Chuck Norris, who I did not know was a MAGA supporter. Certainly a Trump supporter or a Republican supporter, that's for sure. I didn't know that. And Donald Trump, of course, waxing lyrical about Chuck Norris, as he would, because he was a supporter, in contrast to what he said about the former FBI director, about whom he wrote he was glad that he was dead, that it was a good thing that he was dead. This is the president of a country. Can you imagine? Right? There are things you think, even for Trump, near man. Somebody made a joke over the weekend and said, when is someone going to tap the shoulder?
Good morning, Bongani. Trump's response to Robert Mueller's death is really unsurprising. This is what we've come to expect from Donald Trump. But it's very curious when you think back to the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, when Kirk was virtually canonized by the Republican MAGA White House industrial complex, flags flying at half-mast, and anyone who dared criticize him for what he stood for, I think, if I remember correctly, people were even threatened with jail if they criticized Charlie Kirk. And I think, immigrants or even people seeking visas to come into the United States, their social media feeds were scrubbed for anti-Charlie Kirk rhetoric. And if they found anything to that effect, were denied visas and denied asylum, etc. So this is just another example of the hypocrisy of the Trump White House. It's P.W. Johannesburg.
Yeah, I mean, it was at Charlie Kirk's funeral, if I remember correctly, where Trump spoke about not wishing his opponents well, that he was very clear about that, but no, you can't do it over Charlie Kirk. The tapping of the shoulder comment isn't, as Amo was suggesting, just off air now, to tell him to be quiet. You tap the shoulder when you're here to take the guy away, right? When the heavies come in, hopefully with white clothes. and straight jackets, and they tap your shoulder and they say, it's time. It's time, man. Hey? Wouldn't the whole world breathe a sigh of relief?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hey, how's it, Bongani? Stephen here. Start of a sparkly new week, I suppose. The conversation around councils is fascinating. I mean, I think none of the councils will vote themselves out of business. So you know, something else is going to have to happen from national government. I really worry about protests, though. Do you remember how many violent protests we've had about demarcation? And I always remember the first one, the late Masiwa Lekota eventually had to run away from protesters. It was in Merafong near Carltonville. Who was the mayor there? I think it was Des van Rooyen was the mayor there. So I just worry about the protests. Anyway, check you later. Cheers.
Good morning, team. Consolidating two failing municipalities does not work. Just look at Hartbeespoort, who had its own municipality before 94 and was amalgamated with Brits to form Madibeng. For the last at least 11 years, Madibeng has not spent a single cent on upgrading Hartbeespoort infrastructure, despite all the new developments and the town literally growing and expanding at an unbelievable rate.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're not going to change the people who run these municipalities to the ground, it may not matter very much how big it is. Because as I argued earlier, look at some of the metros, look at Johannesburg and the difficulties it is experiencing and the instability, right? No less than the president speaking this weekend that Dada Morero is going to stay on as the mayor of Johannesburg and that is not going anywhere. You remember, of course, Fikile Mbalula stepped in when we understood last week that the regional council wanted to recall him as mayor, and the president says ostensibly this is for the stability of the city. But I wonder if it makes any difference. Does it make any difference that Dada Morero is the mayor of Johannesburg, given the issues we are facing?
It's giving me a much clearer determination on what we should do. We should have a strong mayor in Johannesburg. And by the way, Dada Morero is still the mayor of Johannesburg, and there's no change there. And of course, it is politics where people in political parties will say, we want this one, we want that one. So Dada Morero remains where he is. He's the mayor of Johannesburg. And those are just political shenanigans that are happening. We are saying we want stability in Johannesburg until the election happens. And we want stability, we want progress. But more importantly, Johannesburg is beset by enormous problems, not only in water, but also in just service delivery. So we want strong local government in Johannesburg to deliver to the people and to give them hope.
The president speaking at News 24's On the Record Summit. This was last week, Thursday. So for now, Dada Morero stays, but you as a resident, do you care? Do you feel any difference?
EWN Traffic.
23 after 8, the CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Heavy delays on the R24 West. Amo, what's that about?
Well, Bongani, peak time delays between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. The N12 West is also backed up as a result, coming out of Croft Road towards the Giluli's turn off. If you are traveling on the N3 North, also do expect heavy traffic volumes. This is between the Giluli's interchange and Modderfontein Road. That's due to an accident right after Linksfield Road, causing these massive queues. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a man wearing his finest suit on his way to an interview. He's prepped 100 times, but he still has butterflies. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a potential lucky break that could change someone's life. Every story's different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up now with news from elsewhere in the world. Certainly the story of the year is going to be this war against Iran. And Adam, we now know Iran's long-range missiles can go a lot further than we believed.
I think that's right. I hadn't heard many people suggesting that 4,000 kilometers was, as it were, on the Iranian radar, but we know they fired 2 missiles at the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean, this very controversial base in the Chagos Islands. It's part British, part American, and that in itself has been controversial. But we also know that of those 2 missiles, one fell short and one was shot down. So obviously the Iranian forces think that 4,000 Ks more or less is within their target range. So somebody in Israel, specifically in the Israeli Defense Forces, has now got out their compass and their pencil, and they worked out that, well, if Diego Garcia's on the Iranian target list, then in theory their missiles could reach London, Paris, Berlin, Moscow, Cairo, Nairobi, Delhi, you name it. I can't think of any reason why Iran would attack Moscow, Cairo, or Nairobi, or really realistically London, Paris, or Berlin, because at this stage the beef really is with Iran and Israel. But you know what? The cornered cat will lash out, and we wait to see if there's any suggestion that we could remotely be on their target list.
Indeed, the Israeli Prime Minister now trying to persuade European countries that if they're within range, they should join the war against Iran. But on that list, Adam, I was happy to hear Johannesburg was absent. Let's go now to Russia. A Putin critic locked up in an insane asylum. This is a surprise.
Yeah, a guy called Ilya Remezlo, a well-known current affairs commentator in Russia, previously a staunch Vladimir Putin supporter and ally. He was an endorser of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But suddenly, a week ago, Remezlo posted a series of messages and indeed a video describing Vladimir Putin as a war criminal, a liar, and a thief. Remezlo suggested, no clue as to why he'd changed his mind on this, but anyway, Remezlo suggested the war is being waged entirely based on the Russian president's ego. He forecast that the Russian president is growing weaker and a coup will topple him this year. Hours after those messages appeared and the video came out, Remezlo was reportedly admitted to a psychiatric facility in St. Petersburg that is, quote, for patients suffering from delusions, thought disorders, and incoherent speech. Friends say they haven't been able to reach him at this facility in St. Petersburg. Isn't it a classic of a megalomaniac totalitarian state? No criticism of the leader is allowed, and if any is made, then clearly that person must be nuts. It won't be a very easy listen, though, will it, for Ilya Remezlo's family?
Yeah, I mean, we complain in this country about shows being cancelled. In Russia, they send you to an insane asylum. Thank goodness for small mercies, Adam. Now, K-pop, is it one of your favorite genres of music?
It's not personally, but I'm kind of in awe of it because the K-pop fandom is kind of like no other at the moment, although it might be reminiscent of previous kind of boy band phenomena. But suddenly they are back. BTS, remember them? They were huge in 2013 and they got huger and their ripples turned into a global K-pop tsunami. But then suddenly some independent projects, National Army Service, as is mandatory in South Korea, a 3-year hiatus, but they are back. Tens of thousands, possibly even pushing 200,000 people packed out the heart of Seoul for their comeback gig. Some flew into Seoul specially. Some had apparently foreign fans had been learning Korean specifically so they could join in properly. But do you know what? There are plenty of comebacks that have got us stirred. So if you haven't got stirred by BTS, were you there for the reunions of Oasis, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Guns N' Roses, Take That, Led Zeppelin, and the Spice Girls? One of those probably ticks a box somewhere.
Almost all those on that list should stay exactly where they've been. Adam Gilchrist, that's my view. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
EWN Business.
Local steel must be protected. This is South Africa's position now.
Yeah, South Africa has imposed steep import duties on structural steel imports from China and Thailand. The International Trade Administration Commission of South Africa says its investigation into imports from China and Thailand had found evidence of dumping, meaning a product is exported into a country at less than the normal market price or than production costs. Now, this, of course, to the disadvantage of domestic players. Structural steel imports from China face tariffs of 75% now, while a 20% duty would be placed on the Thailand steel. Now, in 2024, South Africa imposed provisional anti-dumping duties of 52% and 9% of structural steel imports from China and Thailand, respectively. The tariffs cover structural steel used mostly in construction.
Foshini, suffering as consumers spend cautiously?
Yeah, I think more and more of us are wearing our clothes for longer and not spending money on new clothes. The Foshini Group expects earnings to fall by more than 20% for the year to March, worse than it had previously signaled. The retailer has been impacted by global uncertainty, pushing up input costs, while a more cautious consumer has also hit their sales. Weak trading conditions in key international markets also denting the business. But it says online sales rose strongly by 55%, contributing 14.7% of total group sales. Operating profit declining by 9.9% to 2.3 billion rand.
Your indicators.
The rand at 17 rand 18 cents against the US dollar is down by close to 1% now against the US currency, at 19 rand 82 against the euro, and at 22 rand 85 cents against the British pound. Price of gold is down close to 5% now at $4,297 an ounce. It's not seen as a safe haven currently, people putting their money into the dollar. The platinum at $1,779 an ounce, while Brent crude is at $113 a barrel. That's your morning business. There'll be more business from Stephen Grotes later this afternoon.
Brand rivalries, we're still taking your calls. Is it FNB versus Standard Bank? Is it Kiwi versus Nugget for your shoe polish? Do let us know. It's grim news coming out of the Northern Cape. Also good in some sense. Sfiso Zulu, I'll let you explain.
That's right, Bongani, because the bodies of all 5 mine workers at a Kappa mine have been retrieved from underground. It comes after 2 bodies were pulled out yesterday at the operations in Kimberley. The remains of 1 miner were found about 2 weeks ago after the group was trapped in a mudslide. Mine Rescue Services spokesperson Manny Furu.
Yes, we concluded in the early mornings this morning, so we took out all the people that was missing during the mud crash that occurred, and yes, it's nice for us to conclude and to give closure to the families and to be appreciative of our rescue team members that did this work safely for us.
Joburg residents who are without water are being urged to be patient while supply is slowly being restored. The city's Commando, Soweto and Deep South water systems are constrained. Places affected are Westbury, Westdean, Doornkop, Protea Glen and Lenasia. Jabuli Limbata reports.
Joburg Water says the affected systems are experiencing challenges due to low water levels in the respective reservoirs. To help improve this, the water entity is conducting regular and unscheduled water cuts. These interventions will help bring water levels to increased supply. High-lying areas will be the last to receive water. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News.
The Cape Town Regional Court has ordered that a man convicted of rape, kidnapping and attempted murder be listed on the National Register for sex offenders. The 48-year-old, whose name has been withheld to protect his young children, was found guilty of assaulting his partner. He has been sentenced to 18 years in prison. Camray Clark reports.
Western Cape Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Nicolette Bell, has condemned the brutal gender-based violence, saying the perpetrator inflicted abuse on a woman he claimed to love, someone he was supposed to protect. National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson Eric Ndabazalile says the man's name has been withheld to protect his minor children.
The court has ordered these particulars to be included into the National Register for Sex Offenders and declared him unfit to possess a firearm.
In her victim impact statement, the partner said she will never forget the abuse and continues to suffer trauma. The NPA says it remains committed to the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. Camray Clark, Eyewitness News.
And Germany's Federal Court of Justice is expected to rule today in a landmark climate case brought by environmentalists against auto giants BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Campaigners from the group Environmental Action Germany argue that the car manufacturers should be forced to stop selling combustion engine cars after 2030. The case builds on a landmark 2021 ruling by Germany's Constitutional Court that the state has a duty to protect future generations from the effects of climate change and seeks to apply the principle to companies. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic in the city of Tshwane due to a major accident seen on the N1 South. Delays between the Flying Saucer turn off and John Foster Drive.
The top story this hour, the bodies of all 5 mine workers at Ekapa Mine in the Northern Cape have been retrieved from underground.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
On the go and your stomach suddenly not keeping up, that burn, the bloating or reflux could be symptoms of an ulcer, and stress can make it feel even worse. Ulcinic offers triple action relief by coating your stomach lining with a protective layer and works up to 6 hours, and there's no prescription needed, so you can choose between suspension or effervescent tablets. Keep an eye on the shelf for Ulcinic's new packaging. They've got a fresh new look on the outside, but it's the same trusted relief on the inside. Visit the Ulcinic Facebook page for more.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
I only went for gift wrap, that's all I needed, I swear. Just tape and birthday wrapping for a little teddy bear. Now there's a pink flamingo perched right by the door. And somehow 5 new books to read, thanks to the crazy store. That's crazy, crazy, that's the crazy store. Went in for one small thing, came out with so much more.
The crazy store. Hey, you never know what you might find.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with the leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and team. When it comes to the best brand for coffee, it has to be Doa Egberts. I'm not too certain if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but hey, there's no master. But that has to be the best coffee out there. Tops all of them. All of them. And I know people are going to agree with me on this one. Doa Egberts coffee is the best coffee. No competition. Thank you. Lovely show as always.
Ooh, brands. Russians. I'll go for escort. You know, all those Hong Kong Russians and whatnot. They used to be renowned. I don't know what happened with renowned, but yeah, I guess the Russians from Escort, and any other cold meat from Escort is good. Thank you.
Hey, Bongani Bingwa. Talking about the brands. Coke. You know Coke? Yeah, even when you want Sprite and whatever, what kind of Coke do you want? Yeah, it's Coca-Cola all the way.
Hi, this is Nikki from Edenvale. On the dishwasher debate, I used to think Sunlight was the best, but I found it stopped foaming as well as it used to. So I have switched over to Mac dishwasher and I am very happy with that. So that's my 10 cents worth in the dishwasher debate.
Listen, Bongani, there's no better mayo out there than the Woolworths mayo. I grew up with Cross and Blackwell, but I know better now. And if anybody says anything different, they haven't tasted the Woolworths brand mayo. It slaps. Tomato sauce, I grew up with Old Gold, but now I'm a Heinz fan. I agree with Mateo and Cabazela. Heinz is the one. And when it comes to tea brands, no one makes better tea than you and Five Roses. And then Rooibos tea, I grew up with Fresh Pack, and you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, it does the job, and it's just got that homely taste. Yep.
Hey, good morning, Bongani. Brand versus brand. Disposable nappies, Pampers. Pampers beats them hands down, to an extent that every disposable nappy is called a Pampers.
Oh no, I'm here for Huggies Gold. Pampers used to, I don't know, like hurt the skin, you know, and so switched to Huggies Gold. Cindy?
So we used Pampers, and
Yeah.
it's all down to the shape of your child's body.
Yeah.
Because I tried Huggies, and they used to leak everywhere, and people swore by Huggies Gold. So
Really?
and then I would tell my friends, no, it's Pampers, and then they would get. So it's actually down to the way the child's hips and legs and everything. It's got probably nothing to do with the brand.
It's been so long ago. I'm now trying to think. There was also the formula, and I used to swear by it when everybody would say, what's the popular brand that everybody uses?
Nan.
Nan.
And you swore by Lactogen.
What's it? S26.
S26.
Gold.
S26 Gold. I swore by that thing because we met a nurse at Dischem who said that's the thing closest to the mother's milk. So if for whatever reason there's no milk, S26 Gold was the thing to use. And you get so loyal to these brands.
you do.
Cindy?
So we also met a nurse.
Was it at the Dischem though?
No,
it might have been at Clicks.
It was a nurse at the pediatrician's office.
Yeah.
And she said to me that there was this formula that comes in a box. I think it was Infocare. And if you buy Infocare, if you read where it's made, distributed, blah, 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 it's made and distributed by the same people who do the very expensive brand. So then she said, you're literally paying a third of the price.
For the same
and
thing.
it's the same thing. And quite interestingly enough, speaking about brands, on TikTok, there's a lady who's called the water. What do you call somebody who knows a lot about like wine and stuff? Someone.
I've gone sommelier. The water sommelier.
Sorry, it's one of the words I can't pronounce, ladies and gentlemen. I am a human. She's a water sommelier, and she says Thirsty is bottled, sourced, everything at the same place as the Woolworths Drakensberg water. So she claims they taste exactly the same. So I can believe that the gold kit, that the Infocare in the yellow box that's a third of the price is, I stand to be corrected. I know we're saying this on a broadcasting platform, so don't take our advice, but there are people online who literally compare.
And they'll tell you it's the same thing.
It's the same as my favorite thing on TikTok is people have gone into these very expensive stores and bought a dress and paid over 1,000 Rand for it. And then they've gone into Pick and Pay clothing and found the exact same dress for like $3.99. So I'm not very brand specific.
Yeah.
I like to read where stuff is from, and I'll use I'll call it the generic.
Let's talk where you can make a difference. Pepsi or Coke?
Oh, Coca-Cola.
Mountain Dew or Iron Brew?
Mountain Dew.
Sprite or 7-Up?
7-Up.
Mirinda or Fanta? Orange.
I like Oros with sparkling water.
EWN Sport.
Here's one more. Orlando Pirates
Hands
or
down,
Kaiser
the other
Chiefs.
team. Whatever the other team is.
Wasn't so yesterday.
Guys, I have
Yes.
no skin in the game in local football, but because everybody at 702 supports Orlando Pirates, I have to be the one, right? They're back top of the league after thrashing TS Galaxy 6-0. Mofokeng with 3 goals. Durban City's great season continues, up to 5th after beating Richards Bay 1-0. Also 1-0 wins for Arrows and Sewelele over Sekone and Orbit. Manchester City are League Cup champions. They beat Arsenal 2-0 with both goals from O'Reilly. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta defended his decision to stick with his cup goalkeeper Kepa, whose blunder leaked through the opening goal.
I understand that, but I have to do what I feel is right, which is honest and which is fair. And I think we have an outstanding keeper on Kepa. He's played all the competition, and I think it would have been very, very unfair for him and for the team to do something different.
With the top 2 sides in cup action, the focus was on the bottom of the table, where Spurs hover 1 point above relegation after they lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. Spurs 1 point ahead of West Ham, who lost 2-0 to Aston Villa. Also, Sunderland beat Newcastle 2-1. In the CAF Champions League, Mamelodi Sundowns lost to Stade Malien 2-0 last night, but they're through to a 4th consecutive semi-final on a 3-2 aggregate. A successful South African leg of Live Golf wrapped up at Steyn City with Bryson DeChambeau beating John Ram on a playoff hole. The South African team, the Southern Gods, came second, 1 shot behind DeChambeau's Crushers GC. Dean Burmester says it was a phenomenal week.
Greatest week of my life. Honestly, collectively, the greatest 4 days I've had on a golf course. The most fun. I didn't get down on myself once, which is something I tend to do, and it was impossible. Everybody's shouting my name, and I just smiling, telling jokes, and shouting crazy things out. It was amazing. I've never experienced that in my life. I know a lot of American guys might have, but I've never experienced anything like that, and it was, for me, the greatest thing. So I can only say thank you so much, South Africa.
The event will return to Steyn City next year, April. Shock at the Miami Open tennis, where the men's top seed Alcaraz was knocked out by Korda in the round of 32, while the other top seeds Fritz and Zverev are through. On the women's side, the 7th seed Paulini and the 9th seed Svetlina are both out. And in MotoGP, Marco Bezzecchi won in Brazil ahead of Jorge Martinez. Defending champion Marc Marquez finished 4th. Brad Binder crashed out. Bezzecchi tops the rider standings. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
13 to 9. Let's wrap up the morning's traffic. Amor, what are you seeing at this stage? There were issues in Pretoria earlier.
That's correct, Bongani. Well, traffic is clearing quite a bit, especially on the N14 East, heading towards the Brockfontein interchange. But if you're still traveling on the N1 South, unfortunately, that accident is still there right after John Foster Drive. It's causing delays coming out of the Flying Saucer interchange. So please try to avoid that one. And then in Tembisa, we've got queuing traffic on the R21 North approaching the Olifantsfontein Road exit. That's due to roadworks there. Then in Bryanston, queuing traffic along the N1 South. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to a major accident seen there. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Morning, Bongani. I'm Wow from Jameson here. I just want to know, why is there no one pressing charges from the ICC against Benjamin and Donald Trump? Are they immune to this? Is the ICC purely for Africans? And if not, then why is the United Nations not doing anything about it? I mean, is there no mechanism to press charges even after their presidency?
Well, the US are not signatories to the Rome Statute, so they've always believed it doesn't apply to them. There is a warrant of arrest out for Benjamin Netanyahu. As to whether it will be honored, particularly by European countries who regularly let him fly over their airspace, well, I think that's not even a question of whether it remains to be seen. I think they just simply won't. But if it were an African leader, you know what would happen.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Clement Manyatela on your radio between 9 and 12.
Good morning.
You still have a show on the radio?
At least I have this one.
Not all your shows are gone.
Not all of them are gone. But you know the funny thing? It's interesting. There are certain people who actually didn't know that I've got a radio show. So they're coming from a concerned perspective of, oh no. I mean, someone was suggesting, let's donate money for Clement. I was like, I actually have this is my daily show every Monday to Friday. And I've got other shows then that I do.
So having done 1 or 2 shows in my time before, I just rolled my eyes at the people who say, Kanti, how many shows does Clement want to do?
Yes.
Why not
Open
let
the
other
industry."
kids? I'm like, that's rather like saying, Beyonce's released enough albums now.
Yeah, give
Let
other
the
people
other
a
kids
chance.
sing.
Yeah, but also, you don't sell yourself. Like, there are channels strategically think that we want to associate with this brand. They come to us. I mean,
Yes.
I didn't go.
So, uhambanini.
I didn't go applying for a job.
Uhambanini.
Angindawo.
Oh, hello, Kwede. You didn't apply for a job.
Yeah.
Hello, Kwede, you.
Basho kanjalo.
All right, what's on the show today?
On the open
On
line
the show
today.
you still have?
Yes, on this show that we still have. We've created a platform of obviously on the 702 open line to talk about what listeners want to talk about. So there are a few things that we'll reflect on. One, the marathon from Omdidam, which I ran on Saturday, which was so tough. I know we've got a community of runners that have done it as well. So I want to hear how that went. We'll reflect a little bit on Live Golf Tournament. I'm not sure if you watched, but it positioned us as a country in such a good light.
Did you see the moment where everybody just spontaneously sang the national anthem?
Yes.
Wasn't that something?
It was Joe. That is something, and the fact that it's also going to be coming back is something. I don't think we should look light at that situation. We'll also reflect on some comments Julius Balema has made about the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, but anything goes on the open line. At 10, we're going to be in conversation with the Energy Department as the war in the Middle East enters its 4th week. This conflict, as we know, has disrupted key energy routes. We know that we're going to be paying more for petrol and diesel. What's the plan? And then at 10:30, we do our series looking at multilateral organizations in this changing geopolitical environment. Today, the focus is on the World Health Organization. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our Family Matters feature. And today we're discussing the various forms of discrimination within families, whether it's colorism, homophobia, racism, sexism, you name it. How do you deal with that in that family?
The Clement Manyatala Show, still between 9 and 12 on 702.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Are your nails discolored, brittle, crumbly, or appear ragged? Are they thickened or starting to lift off the nail bed? You may have a fungal nail infection, which can lead to discomfort, limit your activities, and have a negative impact on your social life because of the embarrassment. New Turbane Nail treats fungal nail infections by directly killing the fungus. It requires no filing before application and dries in about 30 seconds once applied. Ask your pharmacist about New Turbane Nail and say goodbye to fungal nail infections.
Winning the work is one thing. Funding it is another. When growth moves faster than cash, Bridgement gives you the cash flow to deliver, even when timing works against you. Apply online in minutes. Get up to 10 million Rand in as little as 24 hours. Apply now at bridgement.com.
Bridgement. Business funding simplified.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It is, of course, the 23rd of March, 2026. Saturday was Human Rights Day, and that public holiday, of course, fell on a Saturday. Human Rights Day is also in the wake of remembering the Sharpeville massacre, all the way dating back to 1960, and what the promise of democracy has held for South Africa. And we, of course, are going to tell you now about the 8th annual Human Rights Festival that's going to be happening this coming weekend at Constitution Hill. We've got on the line Retabile Maifadi, who is the marketing executive at the Constitution Hill precinct, and joins us now on the line. Retabile, a very good morning to you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Bongani.
This is the 8th installment of the annual Human Rights Festival. And this is one of those public holidays that continues to be debated even today. Should it have been called Sharpeville Day to focus specifically on that tragedy? Or do we need a broader conversation about where human rights are in South Africa and the protections that we afford them?
Yeah, very good question. No, I think it shouldn't have been called that because what they were doing represented something so much bigger. And I believe the reason why it's called Human Rights Day was the people were actually peacefully protesting for their rights. And unfortunately, they were violated and even murdered for doing something as simple as standing up for their rights. And today we are having those conversations. We are addressing those issues and we are taking a stand as the people to say, look, we have the power. Why not exercise it? And I believe the challenge here was that people are not well informed or not educated or aware of the power that they have. And so I think what needs to happen is more of these conversations and platforms like this very festival that we are having during Human Rights Month.
Remembering the past, engaging the present, shaping a just future is the theme. And I suppose then, under the broader umbrella of human rights, you're looking back at a number of milestones, right? The Constitution, it's been 30 years, 50 years since June 76, 70 years since the Freedom Charter, and another 7 decades since the Women's March of 56.
Yes, very much so, because Constitution Hill is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We are trying to get people to come and learn more about these things, to learn about these milestones and what they mean, meaning that we can also build such milestones for our current generation and future generation. So learning where we come from helps us navigate where we're going. So the more they know, the more power they have and the more opportunity they have to exercise that power.
What? Tell me about the program. What can we expect?
Yes. So the next 3 days, which is from the 26th to the 28th, is free access for all. So people need to go to Web Tickets. They can expect workshops, dialogues, debates, a film festival, kids village, music elements from Friends of Blanco. We have different activities that engage the kids, that engage the people, where they get to engage with industry experts to learn about, different conversations and issues that we're facing today. And then on the 29th, we have the We the People Walk and Fit City Run, which is only 80 Rand, and people can expect to get free T-shirts and medals. But please, they need to complete their run or walk.
How do you feel about, there's also increasingly a sense, and I don't know if you share this, but there's a sense that many South Africans feel disconnected from the Constitution as a document. Yes, we all enjoy the rights that we derive from it, but there isn't a sense of it perhaps being a living document in our minds and in our experience. And that often these festivals bring together creatives, bring together academics, but essentially are gatherings of elites who talk about the importance of these things when many people just don't feel them tangibly.
Yeah. So what's great about this festival is that we are taking the people to the very platforms and the people who are able to educate them on this. So we have something called the activism role. This is where social justice organizations and government institutions come and exhibit and engage the people to understand that this is not something that you just talk about. Because as you just said now, people are disengaged. But now we are showing people that this is actually something tangible, something that you could use. If you don't know, then you won't know what to do. So activism, things like Activism Row and your social forums give people that platform to ask the right questions, to address that certain thing, to say, oh, I actually have access to something like this. That's why we have projects and programs that last beyond the festival. So people come back to say, look, I didn't know about this. This is what I learned and what I was able to do. And today we build 1, 2, 3 in our communities because everybody has that opportunity and chance if they can just access that information. And this very festival is that for them.
So it's the Human Rights Festival for 3 days, the 26th to the 29th of March. Gates open at 10 a.m. for the final day, the 29th of March. We, the People, walk. That's the activity that'll happen then, starting at 7:30 in the morning. And as you've just said, Tabula tickets are only 80 Rand at Web Tickets. Good luck, and let's hope you have a fantastic Human Rights Festival.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The bodies of all 5 mine workers at Ekapa Mine in the Northern Cape have been retrieved from underground. It comes after 2 bodies were pulled out yesterday at the operations in Kimberley. The remains of 1 miner were found about 2 weeks ago after the group was trapped in a mudslide. Mine Rescue Services spokesperson Mana Foru.
Yes, we concluded in the early mornings this morning, so we took out all the people that was missing during the mud crash that occurred. And yes, it's nice for us to conclude and to give closure to the families and to be appreciative of our rescue team members that did this work safely for us.
Consequence management has already started in the city of Tshwane after senior officials and politicians were implicated in tender rigging. Actionists say Tshwane Councillor Kolofelo Morodi was the first domino to fall after being placed on special leave from her role as MMC for Corporate and Shared Services. This weekend, Deputy Commissioner of the Metro's Police Department, Umashi Dlamini, was also suspended. The acts of wrongdoing were revealed during the testimony of Sergeant Faninkosi at the Madlanga Commission last week. Tabiso Goba reports.
Among those implicated in the